We start the day at session lows here. Market continuing to tumble ahead of what is to come later this afternoon. We'll get into all of that coming up here this morning. We did get this worth noting going back to 8:15. Disregard that. It was 8:15. ADP employment change number much higher than expected. 155,000 versus 60,000 were expected there. That's private businesses adding payrolls in the month of March. So setting up for possibly maybe a better than expected print on Friday. Again, keep in mind, Friday at 8:30, we get non-farm payrolls. In the past, there's been absolutely zero correlation between those two numbers, but worth noting, that's a decent sized beat on that number, 155,000 versus just 60,000 expected. Remember, last month was 84 on that. We will get some factory orders data coming up at 10 o'clock this morning. It's Wednesday then, energy data at 10:30. And yeah, it's a little bit disappointing, I guess, as far as Trump is concerned in these tariff announcements. We're not going to know anything all day long. It's 4 o'clock this afternoon. He's going to show up in the Rose Garden, which will probably be 4:30 or 4:45 by the time he actually gets there to make this announcement. So it'll be a day of anticipation, I guess, and a lot of people may be speculating as to what is to come. But downside in a pretty big way here so far this morning, 1.2%. For the NASDAQ, about the same right now for the S&P. Ton of things to talk about individually. Tesla on watch here. We're going to get Q1 deliveries at some point. I saw as big of a forecast as 12% on the decline side, potentially 12% on the decline side. A lot of people in that 3 to 4 range, but let's see. I mean, it's unknown at this point.
Well, apparently FactSet data is saying it's going to be an average of about 408,000 across all of the analysts. A lot of analysts, though, including Deutsche Bank, really lowering their targets heading in to the deliveries reports. We'll have to wait and see what happens. With regards to tariff uncertainty, I think it's interesting, too, because pretty much every outlet I've seen has said that the announcement is going to start at 4 p.m. Eastern. Some were also saying 4 p.m. local time, which would be 3 p.m. Eastern. So we're going to have to wait and see. It seems generally the consensus it will be after the market closes. And as you mentioned, he's usually late.
Exactly. So. I mean, it's Trump. So, I mean, it's going to start whenever he wants it to actually start, right? Rahim Alani, it's worth mentioning. Rahim Alani is coming up this morning. We're going to talk to him a little bit about what this means for the Canadian side of things and some of the different industries and sectors in this country and how they're going to be affected, potentially anyways, because again, we're not going to know anything until about 4 o'clock. Meta, worth noting here, 1.6%, just made a new low, but trying to bounce with the overall market. Big deal with the UFC announced this morning for Meta. They're going to be the quote-unquote official smart glasses supplier for Dana White and the UFC. I mean, he was cozying up with Dana White going back to the end of last year and then beginning of this year as well. So continuing that deal, we'll talk about the glasses a little bit specifically coming up here, guys. But a ton to move. I mean, we didn't even mention the high flyers from the past couple of days here. CoreWeave, Newsmax, again, looking like it might want to do something. Good morning.
Easter weekend.
Good morning, everybody. Sorry, I was just asking Sean when the Masters are.
Yeah, I think, we were just talking. We're looking at Profit X, and we are checking out Masters. We just noticed that they were up, and he said, "What weekend?" I thought it was Easter, but Easter's always changing. So I don't know. I think it's. Does it say what date?
No, it doesn't
we'll
say
figure it out. Anyways,
welcome
to the show, everybody. Yeah, it should be a. The only thing I wrote down was TQQ short so far, and whether or not we get into it now or we wait is up to you. I think it is going to be a short day here today.
It's going to be a long day.
Yeah, it's
a fun day.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a long.
I feel like every day. Yeah, some days you look over at the time and it's like, wow, it's 10:30 already or something like that. I don't know how today's gonna feel.
I think the difference is I can't remember a time where you're expecting there to be volatility in the market, so it should be active, but everyone is kind of waiting for 4 o'clock at the same time, which to me, like when you have a target of waiting for something at the end of the day, it tends to make it longer. It always moves fast because you're actively trading. There's a bunch of stuff that's happening. The market's going to move. I like a few things short, like that MAR 12. Intel's going to be in there and AMD. No. Tesla, we'll see what happens with this 260. If it gets to 270, that's in play. Randy is in the house.
Randy's waiting for those Tesla delivery numbers, so he's getting excited for those. Those look like they're pretty good ones there.
They do. I have to admit, this one,
Rivian
this is why it's in the trophy. See how, you guys can't tell, much deeper and nicer orange than this one.
Really? I don't mind that one. I think they're pretty similar. Sebastian just called you Rivian Randy, so we'll wait to see what happens with Rivian today. You know, Randy?
Did you prank anybody yesterday, Randy?
Prank anybody?
Did you get anybody?
No. It was such a muted April Fool's.
Such
a muted one.
We pranked my daughter, and I was like, I filmed it. I'm like, I'm gonna show the video. It went better than expected. So
oh wow.
Yeah. So she's not. She's like, no, you're not. You're absolutely not showing that video. So there's an election going on here, and at the dinner table, I pretended to read an article saying that both the main candidates are favoring year-round schooling, and so that come the fall, we're gonna have year-round school. And then my wife goes, oh, that's okay, you'll get more learning in. And then I say, yeah, but then you won't be able to do your summer camps. And then that, like the second I said that, all of a sudden, and I was like, April Fool's, and then immediately was like, oh my goodness, I'm sorry, sweetie.
Oh man.
I gave her the hug. But that is just half of it, because one of our good friends and a viewer of the show, Mr. Westermeyer, who got us the Magic 8-Ball, he also decided to prank his daughter. She liked yogurt, apparently, and he decided that you should have mayonnaise in the yogurt container instead. Now, the reaction wasn't just apparently some tears, because that's legitimately mayo on top of his head. And so you can imagine how that did happen. But he said he told me to show the picture.
Oh, he switched the mayo with the yogurt.
Yeah, and then he got it dunked on his head.
What else is on his
I don't know what that is. I don't know what this is.
Is that like a pita bread?
Maybe you're wiping it off with a rag. It doesn't look
could
like
be a rag.
but
I don't know. All right.
Sometimes, you play a joke and you don't know what the reaction is going to be. Thankfully, Aaron didn't throw something at me.
I think those are the reactions you want.
That's okay.
Yeah, you want those moments, right?
Okay.
Like now you have a picture. It's funny. Reading the news story was pretty funny too. That was a good one. That was a really good one.
Well, you know what? And shout out to the crew, because we have an awesome chat and community. Because actually, a couple of days ago, I did ask in the chat, what are some ideas for pranking my daughter? She's 8, and someone gave that one. I'm like, ooh, year-round school. That's a good one.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for that. My daughter doesn't necessarily thank you so much.
I don't know why I was looking at Rivian for Randy, but it's not really doing anything. It's down 1.5%.
Yesterday.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's been great. I mean, Randy was here when he talked about missing he wanted this is, I mean, I was trying to tell the guy, you don't need the exact bottom there. He wanted $10.22 or something. That didn't come in. It went to $10.50, which sucks because it's very, very close to getting the fills. Yeah, came right in there. And that's what he was upset about the last 2 weeks. But there it goes now. It's up 30% from those levels. So, yeah, Rivian definitely.
So stay on that chart. I have a new rule about if I'm ever looking to buy something in the long term, like if I'm sitting there and I want to get filled, say 10.20,
yeah,
I see it
go down into here,
and it goes down to like that 10.50, and you miss it.
Yeah, I know.
When it retests that low, the next day, the day after it holds that bottom, literally that little green candle, you're buying that day. Like from now on, if I ever see that.
Yeah, there's just so many stocks out there, though.
No, I'm just talking about the stock that I'm trying to buy.
Yeah,
like
you have to be looking
because that happened to me on ARM, and I go, if that ever happens again, and I miss it by a fraction, I'm just gonna buy it adjacent to it the following day. You're holding it for a long time. You shouldn't care.
We just had Rivian production vehicles actually just came out. RIVN.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. They just had Rivian produced. I mean, it's right. That's funny. See, maybe that's why I was on it. Maybe I should just trade Rivian today for some reason. Rivian produced 14,611 vehicles in the first quarter. So there it is, man. Rivian's production numbers. If you had under 14,006, you win on over by 11. So
yes.
There it is. Doesn't look like there's much reaction to that, but sometimes I'm not sure if they're dark pool wicks or what, but I guess we did have a little bit of a gyration there.
That's real.
So Rivian right now down 1.5%. So yeah, there it goes. Not the delivery numbers we're looking for on the desk there, Brendan and Adara, but delivery numbers nonetheless. So yeah, we'll wait for Tesla.
Nice.
Looks like they also reaffirmed their 2025 entire year delivery guidance between 46,000 and 51,000 here for Rivian. So the total number there, 8,640 vehicles during that quarter. It doesn't say much as far as comparison for that, but yeah, Rivian not really doing a heck of a lot as far as a reaction to that. I want to mention this real quick. CoreWeave with a bit of a downtick here. It was much stronger than the rest. When I first sat down here this morning, actually trying to head back towards the highs from yesterday. But this 51.50 area. $50 really the bigger number, but 51 and then 51.50 looking interesting here once again for CoreWeave. It's down 3.3% right now, but just an absolutely amazing day yesterday.
Yeah, CoreWeave had a great day yesterday, and NMAX had a pretty interesting day yesterday. There were two other new IPOs that came out late in the session yesterday. One of them was WTF, that was the ticker, Watton Financial. There's also WXM. So to my knowledge, WXM is holding up the best of those last three, NMAX and WTF. But either way, they're all going to be on watch today. With regards to Rivian deliveries, checked here on X, I also could not see any comparison, but it looks like they beat general estimates according to a Bloomberg consensus for production anyway. 14,611 versus estimates of 12,380. Vehicle delivery is also slightly above estimates. From what I've seen.
I was keeping my eye out here for Tesla. If I remember correctly, last quarter I think it just kind of appeared almost before the market opened.
Usually like right before 9.
Yeah, it was like somewhere around 9 o'clock. So yeah. we'll pay attention a little bit closer maybe coming up. There's that WTF. You were talking about 12.5% downside right now. Tag 20 there so far this morning, coming off a little bit, but I mean, so many of these to watch once again today, guys. WTF, just one.
I think you just want to remember that of the recent IPOs, there's CoreWeave, and there's these squeeze ones.
CoreWeave.
So like CoreWeave, this is a business. It's I don't want to say legitimate business. They're all legitimate businesses. It's just that CoreWeave, they're an AI play, they're a cloud play, they're leasing out NVIDIA chips. Like they're part of, there's a reason why. You can say what you want about Cathie Wood. There's a reason why she was buying on that open. There's a reason why NVIDIA bought $250 million into CoreWeave and are probably going to hold it forever, right? It's not Newsmax. So Newsmax and WTF, was Watson something? I think it was just WTF's like Watson something.
WXM. Was one of the ones.
Yeah, that's another. WXM was the other one. So those three are all pure squeeze plays. And if this is the day that the reckoning comes in, we'll see. But sometimes you get like dead cat bounces after the big gap down. It wouldn't surprise me if you saw a little bit of that on NMAX. It was a huge rally. I'm really only have this to 4:30. You can look at overnight markets to look at what happened, like from 4 a.m. But you could see at least a relief rally, and this is still a pullback day. But it's really CoreWeave to pay attention to for a trading aspect, at least here. I'm not touching Newsmax. Even if I think there's a good short coming, you got to pay for locates. It's incredibly dangerous. But it was a great stair step up on CoreWeave. And anytime something breaks out, let's put a 15-minute up. Once you've broken away from the initial IPO range, which it's well above now it's a matter of just buying dips, mean reversions, whether it's 46, that would be an obvious level if we fill the gap, or the 50 level, which is a big psychological one, or any mean reversion in between. Like I think once you've broken away, you want to try to ride that wave for as long as it tries to last.
Yeah, we had, that's exactly what we had yesterday. Unfortunately, we had to cut the trade because it was at the end of the day. We had 50 long break right there on CoreWeave right at the end of the day. It went up to 53, up to 54 and change there in the after hours. So, keep looking at them. I mean, Newsmax, we just talked about these. Expect a down day today, I would think. But, we did have... The thing is, I feel like trading it off the halts are probably, most of the halts have continued in the correct way. Here it halts there at the top, and then I guess opens down halt, but then you didn't even really have a chance, and then rips back up. That down halt worked again there. Some of these halts yesterday, we were moving the way up, so obviously those halts worked. There's another one that worked. There's the down. So I think if you're waiting for it, you could probably play in the momentum of the halt, but then you got to be right there watching it. So for me, for Newsmax, you're always looking at some of these levels to say, what if they break? So for me, that's that 110. Like, what if there? Then you go down to where there's last bin liquidity is like down in the 60s right before we closed there on March 31st. So. Big move to the downside right there. Today is also my anniversary, so.
Happy anniversary.
I'm surprised that that's Brandon. You remember who he was. I was surprised you weren't in the background in here somewhere. I was thinking like how lucky that would be to see you there as well. But,
I was around, I mean, I could have been on the other side.
yeah, because I was going to say, this was like the Friends area over here, I
Yeah.
would think, because that's where they were. But
Aw.
yeah. So.
Is Marissa, happy anniversary, Marissa.
Yeah, she's
Probably not watching, but
I don't know, maybe.
Oh, you never know.
You never know. Anyways, yeah.
So,
Long time.
well, can you, do you guys do gifts or?
Yeah, we're doing some kind of gifts.
Okay.
But nothing major.
You don't do the,
No, it's gold. This year I looked it up. 14. It's
like
14 years.
traditional.
Was 14 years gold? Anyways, yeah, it's supposed to be gold. I know you guys do that. You sort of stick with whatever the.
it's a habit that we got into, and now it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Because some of the years are ridiculous, and it's like, what do you get for 10? I don't know, whatever. But
We're just lucky to go out. We're going to go out
Yeah,
for dinner where
congratulations.
the kids will just be doing their own thing, so that's nice. So
yeah.
I'm gonna give
Celebrate.
her Big Bear AI shares. Yeah, that's happy anniversary and Merry Christmas. Hopefully that's up by Christmas time. Oh man! All right, we have Raheem Alani ready to rock and roll. So let's get over to the desk and see how these tariffs are going to be affecting, I guess, some cross-border action. Here's.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we're not going to know anything. Raheem was talking about this. We're not going to know anything until 4 o'clock. And you were making a good point in that if someone has a busy schedule, maybe doesn't live in Canada, lives in Europe or somewhere elsewhere in the world, are they going to release like a timetable for, like Canada's first?
At first.
Yeah, then
exactly,
France
right?
is second.
Yeah,
And then like,
yeah,
how's
yeah.
this going to work?
Exactly. It's like a bad viewing party we were just talking off camera.
Yeah.
Like a bad viewing party for an NFL draft or an NBA draft. Like, who's my team going to go? Like, there's no order. At least if we knew there's an order, then we know that, okay, got to tune in at 4:05 to hear what they're saying about Saudi Arabia,
Yeah.
at 4:10 about the UK, because
Yeah.
who knows, right? You want to tune in to watch your team.
Yeah, we could sit here and speculate as much as we want. At the end of the day, we just don't know. I mean, there's a lot of people saying 20% maybe now is the
Yep.
number right across the
Right across,
board.
yep.
And then I was also reading last night that he's kicking the tires on potentially ways for countries to get around these tariffs, if possible, if they want to play ball, for lack of a better word. But again, we can sit here and speculate. We just don't know. So
Yeah.
let's touch on a few things that we can maybe provide a little more value on, and that is, A, what is going to be affected on this side of the border specifically, and then where can we find some opportunities?
Yeah, and again, whatever we talk about today, it's complete speculation because we don't really have any rhyme, reason, color on where things are going. As an example, they're saying with broad 20%, it's a $3 to $4 trillion hit to the U.S. economy, which is $4,000 to $6,000 to each U.S. household on a per month basis, which is a big number for low and medium class households. So you put that all in. The immediate factor is produce, as an example, because that's just an immediacy of it, versus maybe a 6-month term might be your widgets, your toys, your things like that are already in your warehouse. You can still inventory out before tariffs hit. And then you can look at the way that other countries have done stuff, where you want to come into my country, no problem, your goods are offerable here, but we own a piece of that asset. So yesterday I just read briefly that they said anything with the Made in USA label is going to be tariff free. I don't really quite understand how that works, but in theory, if I am XYZ Co, does that mean I go and set up shop in the US from, say, India or Pakistan or wherever it is, set up shop in the US, then am I a Made in USA good, where then I'm not affected by tariffs, but then do I have to give up 20% of my equity to the US to allow that to happen? I don't know.
I was reading an interesting article on the auto industry last night, and specifically European brands. And the simple fact that Mercedes-Benz, I think it's Arizona, Mercedes-Benz has a massive manufacturing plant in Arizona that covers the entire US inventory that they sell there. So theoretically, yes, Mercedes is from Germany, but
if the part's made in the US,
if the car is made in the US, they can skirt around these tariffs. Where a BMW, for example, is going to be on the other side of the spectrum here and under a lot of pressure. So it's going to go both ways. Let's talk high level here as far as investment is concerned. I mean, we've touched on this over and over again, and we can't stop talking about the simple fact that gold only goes up. And I mean, it's done nothing for 2.5 decades, and now it just goes up every day.
Yeah, no, gold, we're going to hit, the first, the bullish targets were 2,500, then it was 3,000. Now we're steadily above 3,000. It wasn't just we ticked 3,000, it's come back down to 29s. No, we're over 3,000, 3,500 is the next mark. I was talking to a a guy I know last night. He has a gold company. We're just chatting about some stuff, and he's like, "I think we're going to 5,000." And I would have normally just kind of laughed that one off, but I don't think it's as laughable as it was a year ago. Right. So I think those numbers are going to continue to go. Like we've talked about on the show many times, is gold is a precursor and an indicator for when there is chaos in the market, and it's a safe haven where people can go and really put their money into something when there is volatility in the rest of the world. How that peters down to equities, still to be determined.
As far as individual names go, I mean, we'll throw out a few here. B2 Gold Corporation, TSX name here in Toronto. This does not look like the gold chart.
No, it doesn't. Some of them don't. Some of them don't. And again, it is slightly different because it isn't as large a producer as, like, say, a Barrick, who they're just like to like. Barrick goes up, gold goes up, Barrick goes up in line. B2 Gold is a smaller producer, and they do have some geopolitical risks. But again, the geopolitical risks used to be because you're in Mali and you're in Namibia, and that's where B2 Gold is. And in addition to Canada, those were your risks. And you're in a country with some potential political instability. But now that instability is the U.S., so they're not as tied to that. So you might see them move on the fact that they are not in that jurisdiction.
When it comes to these types of companies, though, what's the advantage maybe between someone going out and spending, on a Barrick or something that's higher priced versus the lower end of the spectrum here as far as upside goes?
Yeah, it just comes down to your risk tolerance, right? Like if you are looking at it, that Barrick is going to be tied to the price of gold in a very small delta. Price of gold goes up 20%, delta might go up 5, 10, 15, 20%. Price of gold goes down, it won't go down 20%. Price of gold goes down 5%, Barrick might go down a couple of points. These higher delta names have that larger opportunity where you could go, it could go up 10, 15, 20% irrespective of the price of gold, simply because of something that happened to one of their neighbors, like we've talked about before. If it's, it's closeology. If you're close to someone who's gotten really good results, that affects you because the ground doesn't know that there's a border in your property line, right? And the ground goes where the ground goes. So if your neighbor does well, you do well, things of that nature. So you get that higher delta name. And in addition, when they announce drill results, like all of a sudden, and I won't bore the audience with details around grams per ton, so I've learned our lesson on that. But when you get those massive results that mining heads really get their heads around, you see these, again, larger deltas where a stock like B2 Gold has gone between, and this is a small delta name, but between 315 and 460 this year, right? So it's a 50% move if you caught it at the bottom. But conversely, it's to the downside. You've also got that.
One that has ties to other Trump-related topics, FM here, and I'm speaking of the Panama situation.
And so that was one that I thought was interesting. Again, it's not a gold name, but it is a copper-based name. But that one is interesting simply because of all the geopoliticalness that goes into everything that's happening in the world. There's ports that are now being bought by Blackstone or by the Chinese, and there's all the different ports that are being bought in the Panama Canal. There is Panama itself, what they're doing with First Quantum, which was the former government, stopped everything. They're in arbitration currently. And you've seen the stock rebound nicely. I mean, it went all the way down to, again, as a larger cap stock, went down to the $14 level. It's come back up to the $23 level, and it's trading around $20 now. Massive properties producing copper, and now it's just a geopolitical thing. Which way will Panama rule? So it's more of a geopolitical name versus a commodity tied name.
The one thing that's blatantly obvious here on all of these charts, regardless of how you look at them, they're nowhere near as weak as most of the other market at this point and holding up, a little bit better, which is kind of the point and why we're having this conversation. Let's go to more tariff-related names or potentially tariff-related names. On the consumer side first, as you were mentioning, there's the food aspect of it, and that's very wide-ranging, not necessarily just on the produce side.
Food items are across the board, and I was listening to somebody yesterday, and being Canadian as an example, there is a lot of pro-Canadian mentality. I was passing by a restaurant yesterday, sign said 25% off Canadian wines. Someone kind of almost frowned at the fact that somebody ordered a bottle of California Cab. Everyone was like, you can't. It's America. You can't do that. Bourbon, all those things, goes all the way to that end of it, as well as into produce. Like, again, Canada, we're highly reliant on produce from other countries, particularly from the U.S. Yeah. So how does that work? And the U.S. is highly reliant on produce and goods from all over the other parts of the world because there's only so much that they can do as well. And if you look at what they get from Canada, there's a lot of grains, there's a lot of pulses. There's things of that nature that come in, plus beef, and then there's the whole dairy issue that I won't even get into.
There's the aspect as well, I was reading this yesterday, of South America. We get a lot of produce from South America as well. A lot of that to date has gone through the U.S. to get to Canada. So now you're putting all this pressure on those types of smaller producers to find different ways around to get their products to market, which is crazy. I want to show this one real quick. This is Loblaws. This is a grocery chain here in Canada, but what is this, all-time highs?
Yeah, they are just $1 shy of all-time highs. They might have actually hit it yesterday. And again, this is a name that's trading at $203. And if you caught the bottom correctly this year on a $200 name, you made 45%. Their low on the year was $145, getting up to over the 200s. And they've done a really good job in Canada. They really don't care about the U.S. And in terms of who they sell to, maybe I'm sure they do care about the U.S. But in terms of who they sell to,
probably not.
But yeah, if you walk through a Loblaws, which is a grocery store here in Canada, you'll see "Made in Canada, Made in Canada, Made in Canada" signs, and they have their own Canadian label called President's Choice, and so you're seeing these things permeate through the economy where Canadians are backing up Canadian-made goods and entities.
I was trying to find something to compare it to, but it's hard almost. It's not necessarily a Whole Foods type of store, but it's getting to a point where it's in the higher end price range at least.
Yeah, it's getting like maybe not Whole Foods, but like a Trader Joe's for sure. It's probably getting up there.
That's probably
Trader Joe's does have better food, so if you guys want to send us any stuff, we're very open to it. I'm not sure if actually, no, never mind, tariffs.
Those peanut butter pretzel cube things.
It'll cost us too much for you guys to send it to us, so don't worry about it, Trader Joe's. Tariffs. We'll pick up the tariff if you send it.
Raheem will pick up the tariff. Raheem will pick up the tariff if we send it. Rails specifically.
Yeah,
probably something
I mean that's going to be a massive thing now, just because of the way everything's going. Infrastructure. Canada's done a really, in my opinion, poor job of building out our infrastructure. We've rested on our laurels and said, okay, well, the pipeline that connects Alberta, as an example, going to oil and gas for a second, that connects Alberta to the East Coast, if it goes through the U.S., it's fine, but why? Why didn't you build it going through Canada? Why would you have that resiliency on somebody else that built a pipeline just below us? Doesn't make any sense to me. And so now with goods that are going to have to cross borders, again, if it's Canadian wine, if it's Canadian grains, if things of that nature, Canadian seafood, that are going to have to pass, that rail infrastructure is going to have to ramp up significantly, and it's going to have to go this way across Canada. So I think there's going to be a massive opportunity for CN Rail in terms of everything that's going to have to go cross-border this way versus people that were always looking south for their sales are now going to have to look laterally.
I didn't bring up that chart, but it's
$140. It's near its, $135 was its year low, got up to 180. I think this is a name that's going to be massively predicated on what happens with tariffs.
This is CNQ, just real quick. We'll wrap up with this one. Canadian Natural, another one that, you're just talking about the simple fact that half of our energy products have to go cross-border twice just to get from one side of the country to the other.
Yeah. So this is a name, again, it's based in Western Canada. They've got assets in Western Canada, but in addition, slightly geographical diversification with assets in the UK as well as Western Africa. It's trading right down the middle of its 52-week high-low, but it's going to be a name that will be affected by whatever happens today. So depending on which way things happen at 4:07 or whatever time we're on the ledger.
Whatever draw slot we get.
whatever time our slot begins. That'll be a name to watch out for, and it's been one of the more active trading names because of everything that's going on.
Yeah.
And what we've always said, if you love yourself, you buy yourself. So they've had a normal course issuer bid. They've got a dividend. So those things kind of just provide that comfort that if as an investor, you also get that dividend on the back end.
I mean, I think just the simple fact that we, show up here this morning, there's so much to talk about. We could probably break this into 2 or 3 different segments, and maybe we should, because
I'll just sit here all day.
As
a Canada commentator.
As we were saying, we don't know what's going to happen. So once we do know, I mean, you had crypto on here a little bit as well, and I think it's worth mentioning what the effect of crypto is going to be, but I mean, we can get into that another time. Let's all hold our breath collectively for 407, maybe this afternoon.
Yeah, depending.
The over/under.
Yeah,
I think he'll show up.
We should set it out.
I think he'll show up around 4:30.
We have a gambling company that's involved now, right? So we can put an over/under.
Place a bet. Yeah. We can actually. That's a good idea.
Let's do that.
We can actually create a line.
Yeah.
On
what time will Canada get announced?
That's actually a good idea,
Okay,
guys.
411.5 is where we'll go.
Shout out to ProfitX.
I think we'll be that up. We'll be up.
I'd take under.
But is that
think
even the
I just think it's
beginning,
going to be
though?
immediately at 4 o'clock.
But who knows? Like, it could be 4 o'clock, and then all of a sudden you're talking for a little bit, and then you don't actually get like anything till 4:20, or it could be right at 4:01. It's an interesting thought. I had to put some thought into it. But one thing that Raheem mentioned, well, two. I had a conversation with a good friend of mine who runs a trucking company. He says it's absolute chaos. They do a lot of business back and forth. I think that's what you're seeing reflected in the rail charts. And when that settles down, they'll probably rebound. But for now, they're in a bunch of pain. And as to Barrick Gold and some of the producers, like you get these lagging moves. Like gold is breaking out. These are only now trying to catch up. So I think that was a great look for Barrick there, and it hasn't really broken out that 52-week high just yet.
Deliveries must
Tesla's
be out. Yeah, Tesla right now. Making the move down, Brendan. Tesla delivery numbers are out. I don't see them yet, but they are. Oh, there it is. Tesla 75. Oh, no, that's not the right story. All right, well, there it is, man. Tesla, I don't have the numbers, but they are going to the downside right now. Tesla, 257 and change. We had just put out the sticky note, seeing that we'd wait to see where, I didn't
337,000 units was delivered, and production was 362,000. So delivered 337, and production was 362.
Yeah,
the
so
numbers are from Tesla.
Yeah, so deliveries 336 versus 380. So that's the big number.
That's the
yeah. So 336 versus 380. So a decline of more than 10% of expected there. So quarter over quarter.
And production missed by 10% as well.
Yeah, exactly. So production missing and deliveries both missing, sending Tesla much lower here, now down 4.5. We were just down 2 and a bit. There goes Tesla, move down. So yeah, all right. So those are the numbers that we have. Tesla reports Q1 deliveries 336 versus 280, 495 quarter over quarter. So way down quarter over quarter. Last year 495 and now 336. So there goes Tesla. Just to look at some levels where we may get into here. I honestly think like this could be a break of there, 243, 244. It's not good. That wick might give us an idea, right? 250, 253. Where are we now? All the way back up there. Okay, so that's good. So it's nice to see a little bit of a recovery there. At least now there's some kind of a bottom that we can play off of there. 253 and change. You know, you can now trade this kind of like earnings. Like it's an important number. So when there's a gap, then you play the fade right there back to VWAP. So, you know, could be a good play there for Tesla. Starting to get down, man. 260 right now for Tesla. Do we get to that 220 bottom again? It looks like it's absorbing this pretty good. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe not as bad as we all thought. Did anybody push the bottom there, or are we waiting? So right now the 200 period's at 265. That's going to look like a good shorting opportunity for me if we can get into 265 right there for Tesla. So not bad. It's not. I don't think it's as bad as maybe the market thought.
Well, last time they missed deliveries, 2%. It was, remember that disaster morning? It was much more extreme the last time they had a deliveries miss. So I'd say this is not as bad. But look, it had support yesterday at 261, like where we are right now, like 60 to 63. So as long as you're not breaking out that range, I think the short stays a little bit constructive here. But you got to let it settle down a bit. We haven't even had a second candle on the 15-minute, and we'll have a couple before we get to the open. So Tesla, not as crazy to the downside as last time on deliveries, but still under pressure. And then remember, with tariffs coming, it's not a good start to the day. The NASDAQ was already weak. NASDAQ and the ES were both weak before this all happened. Yikes. Brendan?
Just reading through a couple of other points on that, on the Model Y. We'll get to that in a second. But, I mean, the stock's been crushed already. So let's just talk about it a little more. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you jump down to the description of this video. Top link in the description will get you to the sign-up page. And then all you need is your email address, and you can get the watch list for free. Every single day comes right to your inbox. I mean, this thing is down so much from the beginning of the year. How much of these numbers are already priced in. So there's the daily chart. 256 right now. We're back to the bottom end of the range, but yeah, nothing good about what we just learned. If do you have those? Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. I found this visual online here as well. This is just posted here on X. And if you can see here, this is Q1 2025.
Yeah.
There's definitely a drop. From what I'm seeing, apparently deliveries down about 32% quarter over quarter and 13% to the downside year over year. But again, these numbers not great. Just to repeat these, they delivered 336,700 vehicles for Q1 versus estimates of 380,000. And then also here, the production was 362.6 thousand versus 412.2 thousand. So again, average analyst estimate, as I mentioned earlier, was about 408,000. We are well below that average analyst estimate, that is for sure. This might be a little bit weaker than what we were looking for, even worst case scenario as a market for Tesla here.
It's definitely the bottom end of the range. I mean, I saw a couple of people even mentioning maybe 300,000 was going to be the number when it comes out, but
it's not great.
Yeah, definitely not good here, guys. But I think the bigger point, again, we're down so much from the highs. How much of this is going to already have been priced in?
That's the Q2.
The thing is, though, yeah, even if you say it's priced in, we just bounced from 220 a couple times here on the daily. So it's not like Tesla didn't have a relief rally. We had a solid bounce. You bounced twice off, like you said, that 220 level. You got to the 200 period. You've already rejected it. So there's overhead resistance we know at the 80. I actually thought if it had come out good, it would have been a fade going into 80 somewhere in there regardless, just based on what happened yesterday. But at this point, you got to look. It's just a little bit different. Like, this is breaking down heavily. Now you're starting to really accelerate to the downside. So I think the short is into 60 to 63 and then just try to pick it up on trend here. VWAP's going to sit right at 60, and if that holds throughout the open, it would have to break back above that 63 for me to be convinced that this is going to be some kind of a relief rally long. And then you probably get to do all of this over again tomorrow, because after the tariffs get released, you'll have even more volatility coming into Tesla. Long term, I think this might take a little bit longer for things to settle on Tesla than everybody realizes. I know I'm not buying the 220 again if it gets down there. I'm probably waiting at least another quarter.
Yeah, I mean, 220 is like another 10%, like more, right?
You can be there tomorrow.
I don't know where this is going to go.
Wait,
I just put in you know, like we just held that 255, but I just put in like a short if we break it one more time just to see. We did get that wick down to 254, 255. So if we break it, then I'm going to try the short. But I do think that, yeah, as we, motor our way up, I mean, there's going to be better short levels for sure. I just think I'd rather join the pain train to the downside. And then if it doesn't happen, we do have levels to get out. Like I'm talking about like half a unit or something like that on some kind of a break lower right there. But it's holding pretty good. I wonder if this is a bullish. I almost had a hard time saying that, because maybe it's not as bad as many had feared, right? Everyone was saying, wait for the quarter, wait till you see what's going to happen to Tesla. I mean, down 4% when we sort of started, even pre-number, we were at 260s, right? So you're only down $2, $3 from that level. And the Nasdaq's trying to hold as well. Maybe that's not as bad as we thought, and we look forward now. And I just can't see the consumer. Goldman Sachs yesterday had the recession priced at 35% for the US this coming year. So if that's the case, are we rushing to buy new vehicles? And if we are we buying a Tesla anyways at this point for some people? So I just think there's been some damage done to the brand. And yeah, I don't, if money becomes more expensive and, prices start going higher in our everyday life, we just had Raheem on right there. As these tariffs hit, if things become 20% cheaper or more expensive, that's a hit to expendable income, which would be something that would go towards potentially a new car or anything here. I mean, I think it's still worrisome for Apple and for some of these big consumer names, right? So we'll watch out for Tesla. There's reasons why Amazon's been going down to the downside, and Tesla's facing that as well. So we'll wait to see what winds up happening. But yeah, a breakthrough 254, 255 right there on the low, I think is worth it. But here's the gap right to VWAP again. So yeah, this is probably a decent short underneath 260 here. So yeah, kind of I feel like no man's land right now. Maybe it's not right. You know, I'm going to cancel that short. What time is it? 9:10. Yeah, okay, let's just cancel it for now. But anyways, that's going to be a play I think right off open then, that 255 break.
All right, let's go on to Newsmax here. Meanwhile, Newsmax continuing to just mind its own business here, trying to get back to, $200 and see if it can actually break back above that this morning. We're down big time versus where we ended the day. I mean, we ended the day way up here yesterday. So nothing really new to talk about as far as Newsmax is concerned. Just a ton of interest online. I mean, an ultra-right or ultra-conservative news platform, maybe just the sign of the times here.
Yeah, apparently it's almost as valuable, if not more valuable, than Fox as of yesterday, which is interesting too because Fox got a little bit of a pop on Monday night, or the end of NMAX's first day of trading. It's worth noting here too, apparently their viewership is not as good as Fox's. NMAX though, right now about $190 after closing with roughly $28 billion in market cap yesterday. So it does not sound like we're going to open with that much market cap, but let's see if we're able to reclaim 200.
I mean, yeah, listen, it's not heading down at this point. I mean, that's something in the pre-market here, guys.
What stock was that? Oh, Newsmax.
I mean, yeah, okay, so it's not heading down. It's actually slightly grinding higher, which is a weird thing to say when it's actually bounced 10% from recent support. I'm usually of the thinking that the day that it goes down or gaps down big is an important one, but a lot of times, I said this when we started the day, sometimes you'll see a relief rally early and then the fade. It's when it does that, like if it tries to break 200, closes out the open range underneath and then can't hold VWAP, I think that's where you start to think you're on the other end of it. I do feel like if I'm trading one of the two, I'll be real, much more likely to trade WTF than Newsmax. Vastly cheaper locates for us to go short. It's also the sympathy play, like it wasn't going first, it's one was going second. It's weaker on the chart, like everything about it is a little bit weaker than Newsmax. I'd use Newsmax almost like the futures. Like Newsmax fails the high and look at WTF instead for some kind of a fade. Maybe off of VWAP, but it's kind of like the tail of the dog here. Let's let Newsmax determine what happens in WTF. For me, I'm not going to touch Newsmax in particular.
Yeah, just a tough. I'm still looking at Tesla. I think I'm going to take that 255 break short. Yeah. So yesterday, I'm just going to go over. We had CoreWeave, and it was a big trade. It was my number one stock 2 days ago. It was my number one stock yesterday, and it was just breaking this $50 level, and we didn't even have it until 350 or so. We first had it on this first break. It went down $1. Then we had it again. So lost actually the first time, then hit it the next time. So it's back-to-back days where CoreWeave was my number one trade, P&L-wise. Not number one traded name volume-wise, but definitely because the move happens. What about a 54 break right now? I mean, everybody was like, wah. CoreWeave didn't have a great IPO, but then 3 days later, we're right at the high end of the expected range, right? And so we are looking at $55 as a high-end expectation. So we just IPO'd, and now all of a sudden it's Wednesday, and we're right here right now. So I would say get ready for this one, man. 54, 54.50. I mean, I like that break. I think if we can get there, we even go higher. So yeah, for me on CoreWeave, I should have added this to the sticky note. I like this trade, 54 CoreWeave. So we'll have to have a look there. I think it gets there. You know, we do have the imbalances coming out. There's going to be nothing right now, as it's all New York-related names. Obviously, we're looking at some of the big Mag 7 names, and CoreWeave being in NASDAQ is also not going to be on here. But pretty mixed so far. Nike with a bit of a sell. I mean, we saw off Lulu, off Nike, they haven't been able to get going. I just said my piece about where I thought retail was going, not in a great spot there. XOM, oil, energy, has been ripping.
BlackBerry, by the way.
Yeah, they had earnings.
Reported this morning, they're down 21%.
Yeah. Yeah, so maybe some volume there, 1.7 million.
Yeah, they're bleeding.
Could be something there for sure. Yeah, BlackBerry. Yuck. Yeah, there it goes, man. They had the tariff hit them like real time.
Yeah.
There's the minus. So I think BlackBerry's just taking the tariff thing a little, like literally. They're just taking their stock down 20% immediately.
Exactly.
You know, just to say, like,
get it out of the way.
They're just like, forget it. We know it's coming. We're just the stock's just going to drop 20%.
Very efficient, Kate.
Very, very, very good, BlackBerry. Well done there. Well spotted.
Or they just don't make money.
All right.
Or there's that.
Yeah, I don't know what that earnings report was, so let's not think too much about that. Just a quick look here to see people looking at Tesla still. Yeah, so still at the same levels, 257. So we'll wait to see what happens here with TSLA. Those imbalances could spark one way or the other here, and those are in 10 minutes.
We were just talking about Blackberries and how they just vanished. and like you said, it was like almost you woke up one day and everyone had an iPhone, and that was the end of BlackBerry. Let's go on to Meta, down 1.5% here this morning. If you missed it in the pre-market, UFC partnership coming through. They made it official. I mean, Zuck's been hanging out with Dana White for a better part of a year. They're going to be this says official fan technology partner. I also read official VR glasses or smart glasses partner for the UFC. I'm not sure how they're going to integrate that, but kind of cool for Meta.
Interesting look here. I want to talk a little bit more about these Hypernova glasses. Sure. So this is their old glasses, the $299 Meta Ray-Ban glasses. According to the Bloomberg report, these new Hypernova glasses are going to cost more than $1,000. They could sell for as high as $1,300 to $1,400. And apparently the screen's only going to be visible on the right lens, near the bottom of the lens, best viewed when looking downward. So really interesting look. Again, this is just an early report here from Bloomberg, but here are the old glasses. We'll have to wait and see what the new ones necessarily look like. Also in Meta AI world, we had a report, or I guess an announcement here from Joelle Pineau, who is the company's leader of AI. Apparently she's stepping down after 8 years.
The prototype that they showed, I guess going back to the end of last year, I mean, I hope it's a little bit better than those at this point, but we'll see, because those were, not there yet. But he seems to be all in on this technology anyway.
Oh, we actually had CoreWeave on the board there. Okay. So for Meta, look, I can't believe we're talking about a story about UFC deal for these glasses. Like, that's not a very strong story there. It's nice to see that these glasses are coming through at $1,200, something like that. Seems to be too expensive, but we'll wait. I mean, people pay up for high quality items, and obviously with Ray-Bans and everything like that, and the tech that's going to be in there, probably worth it. But I was showing this earlier, and it's down 21%, right, from its top, even to right now, let alone where we had just come from. So there it is right there. That's 18%. That bottom's 21. So depending on what we do right now, down 18% from the top is Meta. So that's bear market, right? I mean, if depending, I guess my numbers aren't exact. So this has come back into the 200 period moving average. I still think you got to let these things fall down. I mean, it's one of the names that I like the best out of the Mag 7. I talked about Meta and Amazon. I really hating Google right now. I don't know if Gemini's going to make up for what they're going to lose in search. Really interested to hear what this next quarter brings for all of these names. That was a gift right there for sure. 650. If you can ever get something like that again, that'd be great. And that was only last week. So we'll wait to see if Meta does have that oh my gosh moment and battles all the way back. Would all like to see that happen. But for me, still not that much volume. I don't hold that much to that story. If anything, like that's not a catalyst, and you can see today down the same as the NASDAQ right now. Obviously, these high growth names going to get hit. And yeah, money just coming out. It's been such a great run for Meta. Like even now, you're just back to where we were at the election, right? Like, so it's not the end of the world. It's all this unrealized gains that everybody's lost. So when you sort of sit back and you put on a weekly chart or anything like that, you're going to find that some of these names aren't really that bad, but yeah, 20% down from the very peak is a tough look when you're thinking about it and you're looking at your account daily, weekly. It's tough. And Meta right now, remember we were like, hey man, it's had 25 straight up days or whatever it was. Yeah. Like well celebrated, and now disrespected that whole move, and now we are underneath. So I think we are learning something now, especially some of the new investors, and myself included. Like when you get these kind of moves up, even if you do fall back, there's always worth it to take something out. And I think even right there, it could have took something out. But at the end of the day, I think you just want to invest wisely. And I'm not sure Meta has gone down far enough yet. So we'll wait.
Yeah, I think you're going to lose the 200 period potentially today. And if that actually holds underneath it, I don't see a reason why, like 500 seems pretty reasonable of a spot. Like the absolute go zone, I said this like a week ago, if it gets under 500 anywhere near the 424 half, that's a load them up. I don't know that it'll get that bad for Meta, but if it does, that's at that price, forget about buying once a quarter. If you're DCAing this year, I'm just buying twice at that level if it's there next quarter. For today, I don't necessarily like a day trade on Meta. If anything, out of the Mag 7 names, it was more the 225 on Apple that I was kind of cued in on. But the problem with all of those is you're really far away. In 225, it was a buy and balance on Apple, and it just went up there and then reversed at 225. So you know there's some resistance up there if it can get there. Maybe we get a rally and it gets to that price. The only thing I wanted to add, I didn't get a chance to mention on CoreWeave, which is now breaking out. I like that 50 level that it's already held, but now that it's breaking out, going to have to look at VWAP for continuation. I thought maybe you were going to get the old dip and rally, which, I mean, that's kind of what's been usually happening on most stocks, dip and rally. So I was looking for that today. I guess we'll have to look at VWAP instead. And yeah, I mean, everything's sliding, so it makes sense that the semis would too.
Yeah, Steven, as far as groups are concerned, here's Intel, just about to break the low from yesterday right now, down 1.6%. NVIDIA looks maybe even worse at this point as far as what is happening this morning. We're already through yesterday's low. I mean, there's nothing significant as far as news, but obviously going to be on watch coming up tonight.
And one thing, too, that I want to note beyond the tariff concerns, too, is AMD, Broadcom, and Marvell are all attending this OFC conference. It's the optical fiber-related conference. So this conference has been going on since Sunday, but today, of course, we're going to have 3 semiconductor heavy hitters attending. Marvell especially does have a tendency to move a little bit on these conferences, so I think that would be something to be aware of. Broadcom will be there tomorrow as well.
CoreWeave, yeah, I mean, I just heard a downtick there, but do we even talk about it in the same sense at this point? 50% for Intel in the last 12 months downside, guys. Where's the trade here today?
Short the pops. I mean,
down 1.6.
Yeah, like I don't know.
They're all going to
typically been the name of the game for, at least for this stock. It lost the 50 period yesterday. There's nothing really outside of every even dollar in the 20 level standing between it and the fresh lows that it's been bouncing off of, which is actually 19, not 20. So I think continuation today. You can pop, the thing is you can pop right into prior close and have the afternoon short levels, which was 22 to 22.10 or so. So that's the first look. And if it breaks that, then I'm looking at the close before, which is like 22, I think it was like 22.60. So call it the 22 half. I'm shorting pops in that. And then AMD as well. That's the other chip name I'm looking at. Very defined range the last 2 days. Outside of the early move that you got on Monday off of the open, it's been holding 101 and resisting 103. So if bearish, short 103. So those are the 2 chip names that I have on the mind. AMD shorting if it pops into 103. Also, if the open range holds under 101, I think you gap fill down. But it's Intel that we've kind of, I feel like I missed Intel yesterday until later on in the session. So if there's any play into that 22, I want to make sure I'm able to grab it.
Yeah, for sure. Intel's been a tough trade there from new CEO to all the way up to $27, $28.
He inherited
right back into $20 again. Damn you. All right, so I wrote down there on the sticky note today, obviously we were going to be celebrating Liberation Day, but there it is right here. IBIT, I just want to talk about that quickly. 47.75 short. Still flat here in the pre-market IBIT, which is a little bit strange because I've been thinking that it's following the NASDAQ a little bit. So if it does play that catch-up game, I'd like to see it break. And it was sort of, again, not that wick really means anything. It was a breaking back down below 45. I just wanted to give it a little bit of room to make sure that we're right, or 48, sorry. I just didn't want to whack that, so I just kind of went over here. This level right there, 47.80. So this was what we were looking at as a break. So hopefully we can break in there and then make that move down. It was a good hold. It started that rally. We did hold again. So, you know, if we get up to the top 48.50, I mean, I'm long crypto. It's just into today. I'm surprised IBIT's holding out so good. So this could also be the long that we're looking for sure. So again, happy anniversary today to my wife. All right, so Tesla right here on the way down. it's getting to that level. I am going to go short 255. So if we do break, I don't have a cross down too much, only to 75. So we'll see. Hopefully the liquidity is okay. You know, like I said, about a half a unit or so, just to see if we get going, because we are into right now less than 1 minute. It's 9:24. 30 right now. So if we call up the imbalances, we'll see these in just a second, and it'll probably spike something on Tesla, so bear with me. We can also have a quick check. Well, we were just looking at NVIDIA because we're talking about some of the semis. This could also go today. That bottom's like 104, so I would think that that could come into play as the NASDAQ's going to start pretty pukey here today. Let's flip it back to Tesla just to see. There it is. So, no, not even yet. 3, 2, we just saw it, see how it like moved a little bit. 1, so there we go. So they're now out, so it doesn't look like it's doing too much of Tesla. If anything, it's just gone to the upside. And there's really nothing on here, right? So I'm not seeing
NVIDIA.
There's NVIDIA. Okay, so it just got jacked up to the top there. Not moving too much, but a nice little 50-cent move down on NVIDIA. Apple with a sell. So that was quite a nice trade yesterday. Apple, so that was a nice move there. Coming back in, down 1%, trying to go Google with a sell, Goog with a buy. So that might be a mixed opportunity there. Lucid is 250 now. Okay, that was 240 yesterday. All right, so not much else, man. It doesn't look like there's any of those IPOs on here either.
Well, because we didn't. Usually we have it on the board to talk about crypto. So I'm glad you mentioned it, because I didn't remember to go over one name that was on the note, and it's Mara at 12 again, because the last 2 days. I mean, it's easy to see here. Just underneath the 12 level has been resistance for a couple of days in a row. So let it travel into, or at least close to $12, and put on the short. That's also that prior low, which it's continuing to hold underneath. So as long as Bitcoin isn't breaking out over 85,000, I mean, it could be, it could be there, but as long as it's not screaming above that level and trending higher and all that stuff, then I want to still look short on Mara in front of 12. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to get myself an order out there so I'm ready, because at the open, sneaky suspicion that the 2 stocks that we'll be looking at the most are Tesla and if CoreWeave ever settles down at 56 right now. So Tesla,
that was a great break.
I don't know if we'll actually get this at VWAP, but look, Tesla can move $3 or $4
Damn, shorty.
easy. So it could pop into VWAP quick, and then you're right back into this 360 in a few minutes in here. So it's going to be, I expect there to be crazy action off the open. I know people are looking at that Newsmax still. It's pulled back underneath VWAP, looking weak once again. So the squeeze IPO names are going down, which is your WTF and your NMAX. But you've got CoreWeave, the real one, headed to the upside. So that's continuing to go. VWAP is no longer at 52. It's now all the way at 53.5. So I guess it'll be like first available dip. Yeah, it's going to be a wild one today. I mean, it's hard to pick what will happen at 4 o'clock, but right now the market is bleeding in anticipation. Sometimes you get that early rally off the open. I think that's where I'm looking to short.
Yeah, my bet is actually stuff comes out like way earlier. Like something's going to get leaked, and they might even just tell us what's good at any time.
I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah, ears to the ground here for sure, all day. You know, like all someone has to do is get their hands on whatever this, you know, I guess what he has to sign them all into. I don't even know how it's going to go. Like
they're executive orders, aren't they?
Yeah, I guess so. So
Pretty sure they're executive.
I guess so. So he's going to be signing all of those, and I guess one after another. There we'll find out which countries are affected, which goods, and how they plan on dealing with it, which we already know. They're going to be there, and we'll see some other countries, you know, come up with some reciprocal ones as well. 2 minutes to go here. CoreWeave, there's that 54 break, man. We talked about that. That was such cash. And there it goes. Now up to 56.50. So congratulations, anybody that took that. CoreWeave, definitely on my radar as well. Tesla, we're about to get short, so get ready. Right off the open, I will be short, it looks like anyways. Looks like it's going to break that 255. It could break it right now. And again, even if we're in it, it's just going to be one unit. I'm just going to be in it for, basically for the roller coaster potential crack lower there. If we can sort of make that one whoosh down, and we want to be in it. Now, we may even miss. I'm only crossing down 25 cents, and that might miss right off the open, because right now just the open market spread is 40 cents. So we'll have to wait to see if that happens. And then, yeah, as Neil mentioned, up to VWAP would be great, 260 and change. The name's down today on a number, so I treat all those when there's a gap you play that back to Mr. VWAP. And then here it's going to break, so we should be able to get short. You'll see me in a second on the bottom. I just wanted, there we go. We are now in, so we didn't get that much of a slippage, did we? We're at 86s, so a good little level there. It's just bouncing off of it. Just quickly, Palantir, if it does get anywhere near yesterday's close, fine by me. But for right now, that is also down 3%. Okay, well, we're short Tesla. We'll go to 254 like 01 here. We'll put out 10% to see if we can get a fill for $1, as it might get lower right now. We're waiting out for 250 flat. We'll see if it can hold that. It looks like it's going to work so far, but the market's about to be open. So good luck to everybody.
Yeah, good luck, everybody. It is Tariff Day, Liberation Day, whatever you want to call it. It is also sponsored by WorkSport, WKSP on the NASDAQ. Shout out to them. But this Hump Day, this Tariff Day, this Liberation Day, Tesla Delivery Day, it's going to be a wild one in Adara. Let's ring that bell. Brought to you by WorkSport in 3, 2, and 1. Let's go.
All right. There it is. So we are really starting to crack a little bit lower, man. Instantly $1 in the money there. We took some out, as it's still $1. Just went down. It was a little bit of a wipe down there on Tesla. It went to 253, it looks like, 252.98. So we get our 01s. That's where we were bidding. Now it's, okay, hopefully it gets a little bit lower there as we wait to see what's going on with Tesla. Let it settle down, man. We only got out at 10%, as a little bit more than that, actually. As we said, I think it was 12% at the lows there. So we'll wait to see. Again, not a huge play. We're going to see if we can get a 250 fill. My next bid is 250, 250, and then 250 flat. So there it is, man. Nice little $1 to start the day. Good trade there. At least we talked about that one. We did miss out on CoreWeave.
58.
Yeah, CoreWeave was a play that we should have had on board, but was a little bit too early to take that. There it is, man. There's $3 now. Screw you, CoreWeave. Who cares? There goes Tesla right now. Nice little trade there. 2 and change in the money.
Great trade on Tesla. CoreWeave now, it just hit $58, as you mentioned. The prior high is now VWAP at 54. So this little double top in here is where we're going to look for a little bit of a bid. You're already starting to see it pull back. It just pulled back $2 in a couple of seconds here. So I think it comes into this level pretty quickly. Remember, this is still like a failed break of the high. So you want it to settle down off of the volume weighted average price. Yeah, that's the one I'm watching right now because Tesla is not giving any kind of a bounce as it just head to the downside. I'm going to cancel that order. Once you break the low, not looking for that VWAP play as valid, at least in the short term. So it's just going to be CoreWeave on this dip. And Intel, we didn't grab Intel. Oh, looks like we missed by a couple pennies on Intel there. Had my orders going into 22. Looks like I got to 21.94. You just cancel those because obviously we missed them by a couple cents.
Yeah, we did get that 250, 250 there. So good trade there. As a good thing you brought up that CoreWeave because that is coming back in just a little bit. Look at the market, baby. Starting to get back up to the upside right now. So a nice little trade there for everybody on the market if you went long. I'm going to put out another piece right there on Tesla. We just got 250, 297s there. So far 5401s, 5250 as we said, and 5297 right there. Waiting for a bump up into 58 to see if we can reload it. But as Neil mentioned there, no real move higher except for right now. So if you are looking to go short Tesla, Merry Christmas. You just got $2 of a bump there. And if you wanted it, you could have took it. We're already in it early. And this is definitely on purpose, man. We knew that we were going to be staring at this, looking at it. So we'll wait to see what winds up happening right now. What's going on with Bitcoin? It's kind of just hovering. So
not doing anything.
Yeah, not doing anything. Well, yeah, I mean, almost broke 48, but yeah, not doing something. Okay. All right. Here we go. Let's get this down. 250 flat is where we're bidding right now, and we'll see if we can get that. So come back in right now for Tesla. Now, $1, $2, $3 right there, the only trade that we have on board. Like we said, we're just trying to make a little bit here because we didn't take too many shares. So we'll have to wait for that. CoreWeave does make that move all the way down and all the way up again. So nice move down to 53 going into the 50-period moving average. Now trying to hold VWAP at 55. CoreWeave right now 56 and change.
Yeah, the market's bouncing pretty nicely here, so I expect if you're looking to short pops, you're probably going to start to get them a little bit. AMD did not look. We already talked about 22 on Intel for the short. AMD nowhere near 103. Prior high is sitting at 101.60. So if it comes in and does another wick like this, then we might get into that over Intel. CoreWeave is going to break out the high. That was a silly wick. Right, you have to remember it's not as liquid as you think on CoreWeave. No. So when it dipped into 54, it spent no time there. It was right back at 55.5 within a matter of seconds. So I think you have to sit on the bid and get swept up out in front of your level instead, or just take clean breakouts on CoreWeave, because this one is absolutely squeezing. Maybe we can still get something in the 55 range, but that one's absolutely running. We just got Intel, but I want to have something on board if CoreWeave comes back in here. Whoops, I just put $5.55 instead of 55.
Yeah. Nice. All right, so we're gonna start the trade now on the futures. We wrote down 57.50. I think we'll just respect that level. If we break above 57.50, then we're gonna get out. So let's just put this stop right now. 57. If we come over here, Fabian, that'd be we can just show this quickly. 57.50. That is that pre-market high. We're gonna get more at the 200 period. That's where we want it. There's 57.50. We could be wrong, no problem on this one because it's an early trade. So we'll wait. We got to get some more short though. 57.25 is where we're looking right now to sort of put on a spot and see if we get run over, basically, at the end of the day. We're willing to go. So we'll wait to see if we can get anything at this level. Looking for 57.25, not getting into too early right now. That would be, our bigger trade there. Oh, what just happened there? Okay, so we get 57 flats. So we're still waiting for this trade to come in. So hopefully we'll come back up here. We'll be able to get more at 57.25 and then use this 57.50 as our stop. As there goes the futures, I don't know, big move, right? Big move up to VWAP. I mean, we like to say that those are the trades. So now we'll have to wait to see what's going on there. Short Intel over there, short Mara. I mean, we like the crypto.
The market's coming up though. Market's
big time.
The Nasdaq's at VWAP right now. So quick, I'll show first one first. Intel just made another topping tail candle underneath 22, underneath the pre-market high. I didn't get it till 88. I'm trying to get some 90s as well, but that's the one that's holding, at least attempting to hold. But look at Mara go. So Mara might break this fall. So this is that $12 level, and the prior high there's 12.15. I'm letting it go if it gets past 12.10, but I'm not adding to it until we see a little bit of a curl. That's going to be very important. Oh yeah, WTF. WTF is halted to the upside right now.
Wow, this is going now.
So I don't know what's going on with Newsmax, but WTF halted to the upside, down 9% because of obviously gapping down along with Newsmax overnight. But coming back into the downside is CoreWeave. Sorry, WTF. Yeah. CoreWeave also coming back in. That's the other thing that's happening. So, there goes Mara. Mara just broke.
Everything is breaking.
1208, so I'm out. Intel's holding, but Mara just definitely broke down or broke up. But it's CoreWeave I got to focus on right now. Don't want to add to any shorts unless we get some kind of a trend break or lower highs.
We're about to get stopped out.
But this CoreWeave, it's two topping tail candles. That's not very bullish. I want to see it hold the prior high. If you can't hold the prior high, this might be one of those gap up, fail, and then flush kind of moves. So you got to be careful. This is 53.5 it's been holding. I think if it loses that, you could actually have a short day on this. I didn't even pay for locates on CoreWeave today.
Yeah, so there goes. So we'll go for one there. That, well in the pocket there on that TQs. Like we just took it at the 200. Today we are actually pretty good with it. There it goes to the upside. This market is really, we had known that today was going to be a day, but did we think it was going to be this kind of a day? No, is my question. I did not think that we were going to make this kind of a move higher today, but it looks like we are doing that. So we're going to take some shares here. 258, 247, 258 right now on Tesla. So watching out for a 260 break right now on TSLA as that just continuing higher now and just kind of ignoring those numbers. And, I don't know. We did kind of think about something like this.
Didn't get to 50.
It's a nice move.
60.
No, it's 60s are coming inbound ASAP here on Tesla. So that's going to be the stop, man. A 260 break. We're just going to get out of it all. So we could see we made a little bit of money early. We're giving it back here on this Tesla short. So let's wait to see. Not giving it back yet. We got to wait to see how this settles. But right now, Tesla downside is what we're expecting, but it's looking like an upside move. What's up, Adara, I think?
Cap names to watch out for. This is Connect CNTM announcing that they received a $1.60 per share buyout offer here from 3 institutional investors, currently trading around $1 or $1.50. So CNTM and watch the buyout offer. Then we have WOOF. This company has no catalyst today, Petco Health, but nicely up on the day. These are 3 straight 3-minute candles to the upside. They have a 21% short float. Back to you.
Right.
Oh, I didn't get that Tesla at 59. Where are we sitting? I got 58s on Tesla, but I'm sitting into 260 We only got one fill up
boy.
there. That's heading right back into the downside.
Oh,
I think
boy,
we can
dude.
get this 254 in here. Right now, a couple bucks in the money. Just waited for it to short that pop. Let's see what can happen here on Tesla. CoreWeave now above 55, but it still looks incredibly weak to me. I don't really like what I'm seeing on CoreWeave for the long yet. Not yet.
Oh boy, man. That was good. That was real dang good right there. Thank you, Tesla, for everything. That saved it. That saved that whole futures trade right there. Just looking at Tesla, man. We're out of now 65% of this trade. I'm going to punch out a little bit more here at 255.50. So that was really good. Ooh, like the fact that we got some 255s there on Tesla, that was really, really nice. I'm now bidding 254.77. We'll see if we do get that flush down. I am back into the futures here because I just realized that I actually wrote down 58, and I even wrote down if we break 58 is where we kind of want to get out. So we'll avoid the massive hit on the futures and not hold it all the way to 58, but let's re-engage right now and just to see where we're going to go on that one. So yeah, man, out of a big part of that Tesla trade. Okay, it's coming back. I'm going to get out of another piece here in the 50s, so there it is. So it's $2 in the money, so we'll take it on, honestly, a good amount of shares there because we were waiting for that 260 to break, so we'll wait to see now. Now it's worth it. We took $2. We're at 65% of it. Let's see where it wants to go. It's the futures is the only other name that I'm looking at right now, and it continues to go higher there now as well. Palantir apparently now at 85 and change.
What?
Oh, it goes to 86.
Oh, wow.
Where am I? I'm not even sitting there. That was the short that we were looking for. And we wrote down, is Palantir going to get here? If it does, let's try the short. This has been the weekly top here for Palantir, but for right now, yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
Very
go,
quickly,
go.
I'm not getting into CoreWeave. Just to mention to you guys, it is losing the bid and lower
really?
highs. So this is not looking as strong as it was before. You can like it on the way up, but you don't have to like it on the way back into the downside. I just trailed out of Tesla. I didn't get filled on my 58 highs on Tesla, but it just really wicked that 55 and came back above VWAP. I'm going to give it another shot to run into this. I think this time I'm actually going to go a little closer to the 250,
Yes, please.
9.5 in the 260 area. But if it can hold under VWAP, then we'll have lower highs to work with. Until then, the play is back into the pre-market lows. And then lastly, we got that fade into Intel. It just popped into VWAP, took first profit at VWAP, and bidding into the low of the day. Adara?
Well, keep an eye here on NCNO. This is Encino. It was actually on our watch list this morning. 12.5% short float. It was down as much as 34% this morning on earnings for Q4 2025. They did beat here on sales, but they missed on EPS. Their guidance, though, is the real issue. Below expectations for Q1 and fiscal 2026 for revenue and EPS. Right now, they're trying to bounce off the open. NCNO, back to you.
All right, let's go. Yeah, so we thank you, Adara, for that right there, and Encino, another name there. I mean, I'm just right now dealing with everything. So yeah, we are now short back into the futures on a good size position right there. So if this can fall back, okay. You know, patience does pay for sure. And we had written this down 57 to 57. I mean, we wrote down 57 to 50, 57.50 to 58. So glad that we had stayed in the pocket here with that trade, and glad to be able to go back over there and short it despite me being well involved with Tesla. We did stick with what we were trying to do there, and that is to go short. So the names that were on here, we had Palantir short 86. Didn't even realize it was up there. We should have gone on to that. But there it is. TQQ 57.50 to 58 short. Tesla 270. We didn't get there. We had 260. And of course, we're waiting for that to collapse as well. But so far, so good, man. Let's go futures. Big trade alert right here for the TQQs. So finally, there we go. Yes, sir. So big green day over here for us now, as we're $3 in the money on Tesla. And now a big trade here, 30 handles on the futures finally.
Yeah, and this is what I'm talking about. Like the market right back, actually only back to VWAP, but Intel does the thing that it does where it is back to the low of the day.
Nice.
I think it's going to break a double bottom here. Let me show you a higher time frame, 15-minute chart. Double bottom from yesterday, but this is also fresh lows. If you take out this, I think you would trend down for the rest of the day, shorting VWAP, but it just gave you the afternoon's range. I'm holding on to half for a break of this. If we get above VWAP, I'll probably take a little bit out if there's a big break and then short the 22s again. I'm back into IBIT because it did a, Mara. I'm not in IBIT, I'm in Mara. when Bitcoin's on the brain, I'll do this all the time. Topping tail candle, got out on the way up for a loss. I'm back in when it retook 12, but money fills are, I think, 1205, 1206 on Mara. So that's the level that I want to pay attention to on MARA. Tesla, I'm trying to get back in. I know VWAP is at 256, but I'm looking at that pre-market low where we busted through on the deliveries number of 260 to try to get into. So I want to short the pop into this 260 level on Tesla as the next play. And just one more, because AMD is flying, and I said AMD 103. Well, AMD's at 102.5. Like, I was looking, why? We're so strong. There's got to be something that's at the high. Well, AMD and NVIDIA are at pre-market highs right now, pressing into resistance. So a couple of days in a row, 103 has been the spot on AMD. Being patient, it's got to show me either a trend reverse or at least push into the level before we get into it on AMD. Strong rebound in the overall market here.
Big time.
Yeah, and just to go over another name, it's actually going to get pretty close. Apple, I like 225.
It's breaking highs.
That's breaking the highs as well. So this market's trying to go. Hopefully Mara goes down, but at this point, the only thing working on the short is, like, Intel's still at those lows, but everything else is trying to break out these highs. Adara again.
This part of the show is brought to you by WorkSport, introducing a new discovery in the NASDAQ, WorkSport, ticker WKSP. WorkSport is a US-based manufacturer, and they're rapidly expanding with growing revenues, government contracts, and innovative green energy products designed to power your life off-grid. So whether you're on the move or seeking sustainable energy solutions, WorkSport has you covered. Now trading on the NASDAQ under ticker WKSP. Discover the future of clean energy with WorkSport. Back to you.
All right, man, there goes Tesla, man. 260 and change right now, breaking higher on Tesla. So we are out of that one, as there goes Tesla. There goes the futures. The market, I mean, down 1.5% off open, maybe even a little bit lower. Now to flat, Greensville right now. Look at Tesla. Good, congratulations. We had thought that wasn't as bad, but there it is. We did go short there at that last spot. We did take some more at 258.50. Then there's the stop out through 260 right now. And we said the Qs, man, we got to get out of the way if it broke through 58, so we do. And now it goes to 58.20. So yeah, man, a couple fails there on those last attempts for the short. So yeah, man, maybe this is Liberation Day, man, as we continue to go upside. I don't know if anything's green quite yet. You did mention some of the chip names starting.
NVIDIA's close.
Yeah, so
a lot of things.
Ripping.
Bitcoin is absolutely ripping.
Roblox.
My stop on Tesla is I'm playing off not playing off 60. I'm playing off the prior pre-market low, so it's gotten close. It hasn't really stopped me out yet. I'm beneath 261, but above the $0.50. I wanted to make sure we got into that range. We give it a chance to come down, but I'm bidding the prior high in VWAP to see if we can get out of it. The only thing right now, even Intel, like, that's breaking above VWAP. If it closes above VWAP, remember I held on to half of this short. Then I'm going to get another leg out if it closes this bar above the volume-weighted average price. So that's the litmus for me on Intel, Mara. That's still pretty much where it was before. Like, it's trying to break out this prior bar high, which is 12.13. In this case, if it breaks it, I'm out. This is one of those, if it breaks the trend, I give it to the prior bar high. So it could not break the high of the day, and I'm still going to get out because that was kind of a trend reversal trade. And once you break the prior bar high, I'm out, not giving it to that high of the day. But the market's looking strong. CoreWeave suddenly looks better.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so it's like I wanted to see CoreWeave show some strength before going long. But of course, that's exactly in the moment when all the shorts came in. So unfortunately, all the shorts came in, and boom, I wasn't on this level too. So Tesla's actually holding underneath 260 right now. If it breaks 259, my first out's in front of 58.
Yeah, Tesla's a huge trade now as we go short and wait to see where we can go from here. So it does break higher. We don't get to the 200 period moving average. We get pretty close to it. And right now we're $1.50 in the money, again, on a decent size. So it's just been one of those days where you have to battle it, right? I mean, the longs were great. The shorts were great. Now let's wait to see. Okay, there it is. Yes, sir. All right, bang, bang, bang. Honestly, good trading there. It looks like the TQs did have that move right back upside there again. So I don't know if that was the move for us to worry about, but I don't think we want to get back into the short. But just looking at where we stopped, maybe, I mean, this is yesterday. So, we just stopped kind of at some key levels there, where we broke down yesterday at 19.580. So yeah, maybe that is that top there. So we could, if we were going to play short on the Qs, it probably would be around now, where we're trying to play off of that high. But again, you know, we still have higher to go. So if the market really does want to rip people's faces off, this might be a good time to do it because people caught off guard thinking that today was that deadly day, but it doesn't seem to be too bad. All right, so 260 seems to be good, right? Good outs there on Tesla. Again, this is what we said. We're waiting for the bigger moves, but scalping it out is always pretty good idea. So 259 out right there. We've learned our lesson, man. Scalp that out, watch out now. So here it comes through 261. So it looks like Tesla making us look pretty good for getting it out and not so great for trying to hold. So there goes Tesla all the way back up to the upside. TSLA, bye-bye.
Yeah, I got my fill at just underneath when it broke 59, but then it broke this prior bar. I was sitting at 66 as an out, so there's the stop out there on Tesla. The best we got was VWAP. Now you're just trending higher on Tesla. So unless it gets to 270, you almost have to look for a relief rally to the long side. I said I would take more out if we closed above VWAP. On Intel, it closed above VWAP, so I took a little bit more out, and now waiting for it to retest 22.
Wow, we are gone.
If we blow through the top out, if we hold it, then this is the one that's actually, it's the only thing that's holding underneath its price right now when the market's absolutely screaming. Apple going nuts, but it's CoreWeave that was at least part of the plan, the action plan for the long side. That's well above VWAP. Got to 53, but it looked incredibly weak at that point. I don't like successive high of the day breaks at the open on a gap play. I don't like going long underneath VWAP when that happens. It's a bit of a rule. But in this case, if you broke it, you're absolutely laughing because this market's flying. I haven't looked at Newsmax because they only have so many level 2s, but it's CoreWeave. If we get a dip, VWAP looks a heck of a lot better now. 53 half is held. I think you can go long 55s.
Wow, 58 and change now for that.
Could just be a
name.
60 break, too. That's the other side.
On trucking right there. Okay, I'm going to try the long here. We flipped it up into, it's just the way this market's going. Tesla upside right now. The TQs have broke through 58. We said that we'd want to look at 58, get out if it does break it. It's now held it twice. So, you know, trying a little bit of a long now in the futures. So hopefully, I don't know, frustrated because, you know, the short was looking good. First of all, there's the short there. This short was looking real good. And then all of a sudden, you know, we flipped itself on its head. Now straight upside as we look to see on some of the names that are popping right here. Green, Affirm, Roblox, Palantir. Wow. That 86 level on Palantir, that just came real quick. I wrote down that I thought that could come near the end of the day. But it looks like there goes Palantir. Wow. Nicely done, man. That was just at $80 yesterday. So nice move there for Palantir, up 10% from yesterday's levels. Futures trying to go as well. We just had some news about that WTF. I think that's
halted down.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
28%.
Halted the other way now, downside. But I guess it just kind of opened. It hasn't really traded today, so.
No, well, keep in mind, Newsmax is bleeding. Well, bleeding's the wrong word. Newsmax is trending down, so WTF is just kind of taking it on the chin. But the problem is, it's, like Sean said, it hasn't really been trading. It's gone halt to halt. The second it doesn't halt right away and gives consolidations, that's when I want to be able to trade it. Because I expected WTF was the one I was going to be in, and unfortunately, as you're trending down in Newsmax, you haven't been able to get in outside of the halt. But this is pulling back up to VWAP. So if Newsmax rolls over,
finally,
hopefully WTF will give us a nice little open and consolidation play. This is the one I wanted to be short, WTF. And as you can see, it'll be a 5-minute halt. It'll open up in about a couple of minutes or so. For now, the only thing, I mean, Intel just came right back, made another like lower high, so it's still working off the 22 level. It's just played inside of the range, but if you break out that top, got to get out. Like the market's trying to go in breakout mode. Just because it's working doesn't mean it'll work forever. Rising tide can lift all ships, even the bad ones.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. Looks like it's trying to do that right now. We're just trying to play the big ship, man. We're trying to steer this clear of any Titanic icebergs or anything like that, because right now in the TQs, the short did get run over early. Actually, it wasn't really that bad. Even on Tesla, Tesla were flat on the day. It's the futures that were down because it was really this move right here early that kind of caused the problem there for the futures. But now we're trying to hold that 58. So if we break below that, we can get out. We're going to try to get a little longer down here near that 58 level. My stop is a little, oops, that's the wrong stock. I was about to go over to Tesla. My stop is a little bit below 58. So if we do break, here it comes in now. So we now make sure we get some shares. I'm bidding, oh, no, we didn't get them yet. 58.07 is the big order there. I guess I must have had something at 10. We'll wait. We just missed that the bigger, you know, the fill closer to 58. I think we missed it there by 2 pennies. So we'll see if it comes back in, but 58.07, just to try to see if we hold. Looks like we're trying to break a little bit higher on the market today, but we might have just stopped on zeros. So that could be possible. Like, it was a nice move up, and we sort of talked about where we were from yesterday on these levels right into here. So we needed to get going. I thought maybe there was an extension coming, but there's our last fill now for TQQs. Going to give this about 30 handles, or not even. If it breaks below 58, 57.95, we're going to look to exit this trade.
Yeah, so I just as an update, I just tried to get locate. So WTF, they're unavailable for us temporarily, which, if you're at real trading and you get an unavailable on a short request, it usually means they're getting repriced, like they're changing the price, and you just try again in a minute. So that's what I'm gonna go ahead and do. Thankfully, the stock is halted, so it doesn't really matter. But topping tail candle on AMD just now. I said wait for it to press into 103, which it's now done. There's a topping tail candle above that prior high. So there's the reversal look. I mean, I swung and didn't get the Intel fill, but I'm sitting on the offer there. But that's what we're waiting for. At least more patience with this than Mara to try to get it on the way down. As usual, if it breaks the prior bar high, which is the high of the day in this case, then I want to get out. VWAP sits at 102.25. So I think a VWAP retrace here is going to make some sense. But on the other side of it, I didn't get Intel here on the way back in, but it's at VWAP, and if the market is trending up and I get a short off the top, I want to make sure I'm covering in front of VWAP because the market's trending up, right? So VWAP is resist or support until proven otherwise here on Intel, and I'll take another leg out. Fill me on the bid.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if the futures almost broke lower there, and I was like, come on, at least try to go, like try. Okay, we just got something out there at 17s. Just try to go up. We're waiting at 21s. I don't know even why we're 21 there, but we're gonna wait to see if we do get a move. Specific levels on the TQs, probably to the penny, not really gonna matter. But you got to try to play some momentum. There's the breakdown into 94 or so there on the break. But yeah, it looks like it's good out to get something out there on the way back up. But yeah, it looks like the futures want to come back in, and I'm not really certain we want to be stuck long. So we do have our stops. It's going to suck because we were short there, lost, and it looks like we could wind up. I mean, at least this one will be fine. We're not trying to go into huge here. It's a good level, so if it does want to work, we do have upside. And looking at 58.60, 58.70 up there, but it looks like if we do fade out, we should take the 20 handle rip and then get out. So that looks like that's maybe what we'll do on that one. Tesla, just to have a look at something else for now. Not that we're looking at anything else, but there goes Tesla, upside 262. We talked about that right into that pre-delivery number level of 263 where we were at. So watch out for that one. Newsmax, again, 160. So we did say that there was going to be some kind of pressure potentially down there at 110. So it goes down to 131 there for Newsmax right now. Anything else going on?
Rocket apparently is going.
I hear that in my ear.
We just got a super chat. Thank you very much here from Darcy Santala. Rocket is a rocket ship today.
Sir.
I got a key for that somewhere. I'll get to it. I'll get to it in a second. Ortex has a short float of 22%. I don't know if that's exactly it. I wanted this one.
Yes.
It's an actual rocket. I know we had something for it there. Ortex has short float at 22%. What do I see for Rocket Labs? Just let me fire it up. I had Meta on my other chart there. 23%, 22, 23. That's a distinction without a difference. Absolutely flying. I don't know what the catalyst is here with Rocket Labs, but I mean, things have been squeezing lately, unless in case you hadn't noticed. So it could just be a little bit of that.
Wait, what?
CoreWeave is absolutely load. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Load.
You can't look at a higher time frame chart of CoreWeave. CoreWeave's mooning here. It's actually right back at the highs. It's not even pulling back. It's allergic to VWAP now. So hopefully a little more structure comes into this one. It's got these, like the bottom wicks on all these candles are like $1 long on CoreWeave. So if that settles down a little bit, I think we'll be able to get into a long. The only thing I'm still in the same two shorts, which is Intel, which is holding under 22, and AMD, which is trying to hold under 103. I am bidding right here in front of 80s. So we've managed to get filled inside of the one green candle after the topping tail, and we're trying to play it back into VWAP on AMD. I feel like this always happens. Oh, there we go. I was about to cancel it and then move it, but no, we just got filled at 80. We'll see if this one can get down into VWAP on advanced micro devices. Market is strong. You got to take the profit into VWAP. If you get a reversion, great, but make sure you have structured outs, as we are definitely headed, at least attempting to head to the upside. Like here's Apple about to break high of days as we speak, and remember that Tesla just got to 264. So trend up. I think we got away with it on Tesla today because like this easily on the trend up, it's like somehow managed to not be a disaster, which is weird. And it's got a very distinct trend to the upside now, Tesla. We can actually connect some dots here. So if it's not breaking this trend or at 270, I'm not fighting any Tesla shorts.
Yeah, it did get up that high, huh? Okay, yeah, that's interesting.
63.
Yeah, no, I was just looking at it right now. Wow, I thought that's where it maybe was now because I was like, futures are going. All right, so we did take a bunch out there at 20. It just wasn't going. So we're actually only in, we took out a third about of that trade right there at 58.20. So we're still sitting there to get out a little bit more, but we need this thing to go. We're a little bit higher at day's high here for the futures. What's up, Adara?
We're going to get numbers here. Factory orders and core durable goods revised here coming through in just 5 seconds. We've also seen a schedule, or I'm seeing a schedule circulated here for Trump's Make America Wealthy Again or Liberation Day event, but we're going to get to that after these numbers. Factory orders 0.6% versus 0.5% expected, a little bit higher than expected. Core durable goods coming in exactly in line with expectations for this revision, 0.7% versus 0.7% expected and 0.7% previous. Durable goods a little bit higher, so 1% versus 0.9% expected. So to recap, factory orders and durable goods both slightly upticks here, about 0.1%, but core durable goods revision exactly in line with estimates. Again, I've seen a schedule circulate here on social media and also published. It looks like we have a little bit of a window as to how this event is going to take place for Liberation Day. Apparently, as of 9 a.m., Donald Trump has met with his trade committee to finalize their tariff measures. So that happened as of about an hour ago. 11:30 a.m., we are expecting Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt to preview Trump's tariff statement. Again, this is just what I've seen online, but we'll have to wait and see what happens there. We are potentially expecting a look there. NASDAQ, though, popping into days highs above that 472 level on these numbers. Tesla also really strong despite very weak delivery numbers. They reported deliveries of 336,000 vehicles for Q1 versus 390,000 expected. We also have NMAX and CoreWeave on watch along with WTF. Lots of these recent IPOs still proving to be very volatile today. Back to you.
Well,
that's one way to say it.
Yeah, a little tale of two stories, two cities, I guess, or two trades, because we actually had our stop out there. So once it broke, made that wick down there on the number, went down to 57.80. Thankfully, we got 94s there for the out. And then as soon as it retook 58, I was like, scratch that. Like, I'm not getting stopped out on a number. And there it goes right back to the highs of the day. So thank you, futures, for that one. So I was just saying, like, it's too bad that it happened that way because now we're just making back some of that money that we had lost. But remember, we were stuck long at 10s, so it's like a 14 handle hit. We'll make it back right now, 50 handles back in the money to the upside as Tesla goes 266.
It's still going, and this is why you take out profit on an uptrend if it retraces into VWAP. Countless times you will see, oh, why did you get out at VWAP? And then the stock just absolutely craters. It's because when it does this, and remember, this was a number, so it's kind of a unique situation. Like we just got fill that was sitting right underneath 102.5 and was able to get the fill, and then on the number, next thing you know, it's breaking out the prior bar high. We're out again, getting away with it. Hopefully it's because you wait for the topping tail and get in after it's coming back down and not on the way up. So at least a little bit more patient with that. But as said, with this market getting higher, Intel is right back up at that top. I don't want to sit on the offer in a trending market. I want to see it do another topping tail and then come down and look for the short. So this one's still underneath the top. It still looks pretty good as far as I'm concerned. Somehow it's looking weak, but the way the market's going, it's like it's not enough to just get away with the short. It's great, but you want to make sure that you stay a little bit vigilant. Where is CoreWeave again? CoreWeave is now it's starting to calm down a little bit here on CoreWeave. Not the volume-weighted average price. 57 has a bit of a buyer on it. It looked like a refresher from what I could tell, but it doesn't really hang out there long enough for you to find out, but I think 57 is looking like a better zone. We're not going to get 55 or 53 half. Going to look for a long, because I don't want to take a top break unless it's like 60. Like 60, yes, 59, The high is like 59.33. It's kind of a rando price. I'm going to look to see if we can't get something in front of that 57, which I saw a refresher at least on my eyes. So 57 is gone. That means that buyer is also gone, and I would get out of Dodge on CoreWeave. So we got away with AMD. I don't know if I want to reload that one yet. You could still hold this topping tail and then get another one for a reload, but I'd much rather do it on Intel, which to me just seems much weaker. It's down 0.5%. Market just went green, and it actually got to its low of the day.
All right. Oh, boy. Finally, man. I still can't believe that. One of the funniest moments in Trader TV Live history, in my opinion, was when we had Tony on here and he told the story of that he went to the doctors and he told them that his problem, you know, that he was sick and he wasn't feeling that well, and that his main problem was that he had paper hands. And I was just like he was just telling like this story. I was like, oh man, maybe this guy's like, you know, what's wrong with this guy and blah blah blah. And then it was the paper hands story.
He's a fun dude, man.
Yeah, very fun in many ways. All right, so 58.75 coming through again. There it is, man. Monster win there for the futures, just making that move back up to the upside. The reason why I'm getting out literally like a madman right here is because of this high. Like we made it. We did it. Like we did it. Congratulations, everybody trading the futures. We did it. But all we've done is gotten right back to these levels. So you want to celebrate a little bit and wait to see if this is the top or where we are going from here. I mean, I was going to say the same thing to everybody that's trading Tesla. You did it, man. Oh, it was a great move higher there for Tesla, and you might want to take some out. But there goes the Qs right at that high. We just sort of showed you, whoops, what am I doing? Right there, that we are at that level. So yeah, that's why we're starting to take a little bit out here on the futures. Could we retrace back up and take out make new highs? Of course. I mean, that's what we're hoping for. So we'll take out a little bit as we get that out there at 66s right there. And yeah, so all is good over here. We still have 40% of this trade, but it's coming back in. I'm gonna get out another 5% right now at 58. So there it goes again. So nice little trade there for us on the TQQs. Tesla, Liberation Day for Tesla, because everybody was very, very, and I think Adara was using this one the most, but stress-led out about that deliveries number. And that was a big relief there for traders of the long side for Tesla, because although it did come worse than expected, it seems like it is just eating it up right now and loving life. Right now, Tesla, Randy, got crushed there today, was down to 250s. Now you're up to 266. And Rip City goes Tesla right there to the upside on poor delivery numbers, but people say, no problemo for Tesla as it goes all the way back up to the upside. Yeah, Rivian's getting hammered. I don't know. You tell me. Your name is Rivian Randy, apparently. Oh, what was going? Rivian Randy.
Oh,
tell me what's good with Rivian today, my guy.
Snap.
Down 6%. You know, my mark, I remember I was telling you, maybe buy the NASDAQ right there.
Again?
Rivian right now. But you want it to come down. Yeah, because you like the company, you like to see what they're doing, and you like that level down there at $10. It's Rivian Randy, everybody. Thank you so much for the coffee and for the pick of Rivian down at 1020 is where he does like that. So
I didn't see that.
He says get low. Shorty, get low. Low.
Apple bottom jeans.
Even lower.
Something along those lines.
Like Barry White low needs to go.
Barry White. These people don't know Barry White. There's no contemporary for Barry White.
Okay.
These days. Anyway.
Might be insulting some Barry White fans.
I think young people don't know Barry White. But distinctly different Rivian and Tesla right now. Hey,
let me ask Fabian. Fabian, you heard of Barry White before? Yep. Yeah, he knows. Oh, he said Betty White. Well, if you know Betty White, then you definitely...
Betty White.
Definitely know
Stop
Barry White.
Stop it, Fabian. Betty White was an absolute legend. One of the naturally funniest people that you'll ever
using her.
You'll ever hear.
I mean, when she did Saturday Night Live, it was pretty epic there.
All right, I promised myself I was going to use some of these puns today because of passing of Val Kilmer. All right, Intel, I'm your Huckleberry.
Yeah, it's too bad about him.
65 years old. He battled. You know, he was battling health issues for a very long time.
Let's call it like it is.
But he's one of my favorite. He's one of my favorite actors of all time. And it's literally because of two roles. He was the most unbelievable. Doc Holliday was unbelievable. So Intel, lower high. We're going to jump back into that one. It's at least working. But remember, outs in front of VWAP. Tesla's trying to break trend. But you know what?
coming
The
back
last
in.
time I just punched in when Tesla broke trend on an up move like this, it didn't work. And I remember what ended up happening was it broke trend, retested the high, and then worked. So I'm going to let this one do a bit more of a dance than just kind of close underneath the trend and do the traditional trend line, just because of what happened last time on TSLA. Just want to be able to respect it. And AMD, everybody. So AMD did another topping tail candle. So last time it did this, I got in right away. Obviously, it was kind of on Intel there. But AMD, that 103, it's losing the bid above 103 each time with a topping tail candle. This time, 103.25-ish is the top end of that. So I'm not giving up on a few of these to the south side here. Just want to be able to short them at the right time because this market's still looking
pretty weak
relatively. Yeah, but there hasn't been a red candle on the ES or on the NASDAQ yet. Well, this could be the one red candle. Watch. This is going to be the time that if I had just punched short on the trend break, but I already said what I'm going to do. We're trying to pick up AMD short.
Yeah, we're breaking now. Shoot.
Oh, Intel. No, it didn't get back to 21.95.
Right. Some of the
Let's get back on the offer.
In here, my guy.
Whatever we got out, we're going to get right back in here in front of that 22 on Intel. See if we can't pick up AMD. And Tesla still looking for that short. But I'm looking for it to bounce and maybe retest up here so I can get like 65 short and not 62. That's the idea. Like it's way too close to VWAP already. $3 to the top, $3 to VWAP. That's not a retracement trade. 1-to-1? No, you're against the grain. I want better than 1-to-1.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to just lick the wounds here on the futures because I don't know if we can even get 1-to-1 as it just falls all the way back down to 58. So our stop is that low. So if we break that low, we're gone. We just took a 58. We got 58.13s or something there, less than that 1-to-1 right now as we're long at 58.03. So we do take that 10. Okay, here it comes in. It's going to break. If it breaks 80s, we're gone right now as the futures are heading lower right into VWAP right now. You know, we can hold. Maybe we should, but I'd rather get out and see what happens down there. So a break of that low, here it comes, and we're gone. So it looks like the futures are indeed doing that right now, looking to break lower, and there it goes. There it goes. So there it goes, like slap a last fail there on the futures, making that high. And again, at least we sort of talked about it and we were able to get out of those trades. But at the end of the day, nice pullback in for the TQs and everything else here for the futures, especially, of course, as I'm glad that you at least have a short on board there. So that is real
Well,
good,
not AMD.
so far.
No AMD, no Tesla.
Oh, short, you mean? No short on
Look
those.
at Tesla. See, you break.
know.
Sometimes, and I've said this before, sometimes you break a rule and it works for you, and you have to resist the temptation to break it the next time. That's the place that I'm going to find myself on Tesla because, yeah, it's like you don't want to make a bad habit. I didn't like the R&R on the reversion, so I didn't take it, and like it immediately flushed. You would have just been, you get that $2 right away, and like, okay, well then scalp some out there, and it doesn't matter, but it's the amount that you risk. That matters. AMD still could fill. There's a whole host of names coming back into the downside. Tesla, AMD. Haven't even looked at NVIDIA for you guys. It's already at VWAP and about to break it. Apple, which was strong, never got to 225. It's actually still looking pretty good, Apple, relative to these other names. I think you put Apple for now still in the strong bucket. But this candle on the NASDAQ is now a topping tail. And if we don't catch a bid off of VWAP here, I think you just got to try to work back into some shorts. Just a little disappointed, though. Should have really, really got that AMD. It could still give us the fill, but now I have to wait for it to come back up. Yeah,
I mean, the market is taking a little bit of a breather here for sure. All right, so let's just wait. I mean, now back through $58 again. We still have a piece of that one on CoreWeave. Yeah, I mean, people are saying CoreWeave's money time $60. Wow, we punched 50 long yesterday on this name. Like, wow, what a bounce there into $53. Oh, no, down to the 200 period moving average. Too bad that didn't show up there on the scanner as well. Disney, $97, $98. Still having a look there. Nice play on CoreWeave, whoever has that long. People in the chat talking about CoreWeave. All right, I mean, now we're 30 handles in the money. All you had to do was not break TQQs, but of course it does. As it breaks back down below there, that past level low right there, and makes a new wick low down to 57.50. So, it could always have been worse, but, stopped out of that last piece there. We have on like a quarter. still, it won't matter. Like, unless it goes all the way back to the top, that will be a losing trade. NVIDIA, okay. I mean, Neil just mentioned those ones. What else do you guys want to talk about? We talked about Apple. Okay, yeah, Apple was great yesterday. One of the top stocks for me yesterday. Meta is still holding forward as well. It gets down to VWAP, so still only down 0.3, actually mimicking the market right now, Meta. So, wow, good move back to 590. Wow, that was a nice move today. All the way back there. We opened the day at 574, and then the market took off, and wow, did Meta ever take off? Good move there to the upside. Yeah, I know you're going to look at Apple, so let me look at Google quickly here. All right, so just trying to look at some of the
I'm looking at VWAP on Apple right now.
Okay, yeah, so pretty much everything pulled back.
Oh, it's on my chart anyways.
Yeah, go ahead, yeah.
Yeah, I'm obviously, okay, you guys can see it was on my chart. I'm looking at Apple at VWAP here. If the futures hold, then I want to make sure that I have something that I'm trying to get into the long if we just continue that trend. I like what Apple is doing. Obviously, you can pick and choose any other name. It gives you room to break from here to 225, which I still think is resistance on Apple. I think if it gets to 225, I'd probably still look for the short. Still, obviously, I didn't get AMD. It's pulling into VWAP. Have to come up with an execution plan. If it breaks VWAP, we'll cross that bridge when it gets there. Intel's still holding the volume-weighted average price. So you're still going higher lows on Intel going into that top at 22. I just heard that Newsmax is finally halted for the first time.
Oh, was it the first time? I did hear that. It was.
It just halted down for the first time at 130. Where is this thing going? It could easily see 80. Definitely 100 is going to be a big level, but 80 was kind of like this little shelf here on day one. I think it closed, must have closed around 80 bucks. So the first day close was at 80 on Newsmax. I would not be surprised that's where it's headed. You know what? I never actually checked. I wasn't able to get those locates on WTF, and I didn't try again. Said I would.
All right. NMAX halted.
No, it was the other one. I want WTF.
Oh, WTF, yeah. And there was WXM. Did you just look at that one or no? That's just back down to 350 right there. So let us know. Tisha, if you're here, you had mentioned that there was another IPO coming.
What, today?
So today, I think she had tweeted at me. So I'll have to go back and look to see what that name was. If there's anything that you guys know. Wow, good spin there for Tim on the chat. Thank you for all 10,000 of you watching right now as we just hold long on the futures right now. CoreWeave, yeah, up 17%. Tesla with the dump, yeah, 262. We could definitely have a quick look at Tesla, see what that one's doing now as it's come back down. I've only traded these two names today. Tesla, which has been flat for me because we make money on the short, lose, basically lost twice there, but that was the whole thing, what I'm saying. It wasn't the end of the world there for Tesla. Now it looks like it does want to hold that 260 area. So I'd like to get long down there on Tesla. We're long on the futures right now. That is finally starting to pop, which is good. And yeah, maybe that 260 is a good little level there for Tesla, right? I mean, you have VWAP, you have the 50 period and the 200 period, all just hanging out. So yeah, it could be a good level. The problem is up top. It's just that you've just run into, again, a little level there at 266. So could be something to have a check on. 265, 266 there for Tesla. So something to think about there if you're going to get back into those levels. Yesterday's closing price seems to have been where we stopped right there. So if the futures are going to work, we're going to need Tesla to work as well. I'm going to take another piece out here. We'll take a set. Oh, did we miss? Oh, I was going to say we missed 17s, but we didn't. So there it is, man. It's too bad that, again, we got stopped out there, had to buy it back. We got stopped out there, had to buy it back. So yeah, some of our levels right there on the futures have been great. The levels have been great. It's the execution around those levels, getting stopped out too many times, and not being able to hold this. So I think we'll have to extend our parameters there on the Qs. Google might be the one that's dead, but it's trying to go as well, 155.60. So a nice move off the low there for Google.
Yeah, the MAG are looking good.
Yeah, if the market can rally off that, I think we could get something there.
NVIDIA just bounced VWAP.
Thing is, the market might be positive.
You said Tesla just went as well. Apple, which is trying to hold 223s. I got to at least show you the WTF chart because I know we've been looking at Newsmax. This is the WTF chart. Like, whatever happens to Newsmax, this, in my opinion, should be worse because it's the sympathy play. So it could go all the way back to the bottom. The problem is it's opening up and then just halting down on the way to the low. So there just hasn't been much you can sink your teeth into yet. But it's still got $6 until it gets to the yesterday's bottom. So there's still plenty of room for it to happen. We'll wait for that to open up. Into Apple, able to get some evens here at 223, actually technically 01s. and I still want to be involved in front of VWAP, so I'll wait till it tests VWAP for any ads. The high of the day sits at the $0.50, so if it does make a new high, I do at least want to take some out at the high of the day here on Apple. Bit of a pivot, because it's not like we were looking at Apple to the long side earlier. It looks pretty strong to me. I like the bottoming tail candle underneath support, trapping some shorts, breaking out, and holding trend to the upside above the volume weighted average price. I have not reloaded Intel again. We just got some out going into VWAP, so it's still trending higher in my opinion. And we haven't gotten any fills above 22. There's one wick above 22. All the shorts have been in the mid-90s. For now, I'm going to continue to hold that short in case it breaks the volume weighted average price. But as I said, at some point, rising tide is going to lift all ships. And if the market continues to go, this will probably take that top off as well. So I'm taking profit as it goes.
Yeah, we just did some topping tail profit makers as well. Palantir was the one that was really starting to go today, and man, did it get through that 86, that's for sure. As you're right back into VWAP right now. So Palantir, again, good move up. It's nice to see a name that's positive on the day. A little bit of a retracement back to VWAP. To me, normally this looks like a buy, right, when you make these kind of moves. So PLTR. Right now, back to VWAP, holding that 85.50. I think it's worth a starter position, so we'll put one on here. I was starting to go against it. Well, okay, we just got the fill, so that was all good there. Long at 85.72 right now. So 73, I think, actually. 72 is okay, good. We had a little bit of we have a part fill there, so we'll give it 72 right now, long on Palantir. Just seeing about a hold of VWAP. We don't have to be exactly specific on that VWAP, but if we are going to zoom in and see where we'd like to get stopped out, again, our levels haven't been great. So that's 85 flat. So there's VWAP. It's been holding. I mean, if we use VWAP, then that goes back only 10 minutes to this level holding for the last 10 minutes. You know, like to see the chance that we do whoosh down a little bit. So why don't we buy and then hold against 85, thinking that, you know, we're still well above right now. DJT something coming out right now. Let me just see for S3 or no, that wouldn't be S3. Okay, nice move there. 18. Okay, so here it goes, man. Dollar straight up for DJT right there. So we'll find out more. Oh, Trump Media issues statement on filing of Form S3. So we'll find out more about that. But there is a nice move right there on DJT upside. And oh boy, man, we finally, Neil, man, we finally play with the right direction, and it's like pay dirt, man, instantly there on Palantir. How about them apples, man? That's a quick one. 45 cents, 55 cents now upside. Sorry, 45 cents upside there immediately on Palantir. Let's go find out what's going on now with Adara and the small cap recap.
I will look into that DJT story when I return to my desk. But in the meantime, Russell 2000 near day's highs, much stronger actually than the rest of the market when you think about it. It's only now breaking highs and it's green on the day. So keep an eye on the IWM. We have TTEC. This is the first small cap on watch. The company is TTEC Holdings, and they do have a pretty notable short float, about 22%. They announced last night that apparently there's a special committee that remains ready to consider and engage with an offer, basically for definitive transaction proposals. So keep an eye here on TTEC, apparently consider being bought out there or going private. Then we have Sportsman's Warehouse, SPWH, this one about $1.80, I believe, but it's very much a small cap earnings name. Beat here in EPS and revenue with an unexpected profit to boot. Last but not least, we have QAnon Pharmaceuticals, QNRX, penny stock here, 18% short float, announcing some additional data from one of its studies. So keep an eye here on QNRX. Back to you, I will look into DJT.
Yeah, if that was a fake story that that DJT was going to be filing so that Trump could sell the shares in the trust, I mean, you would think that that could squeeze the name. But just one, before I get to DJT, in a quick second, Apple just got back to the high. It's battling red to green, back and forth here at about 223 and a quarter or so. So I'm going to buy the dip again. If this reverts and holds green and this market breaks out the top, I think Apple sees 225 today. But that seems like a really good story for DJT. Just given what we've seen with squeeze names recently, like how would you not take a shot at a squeeze name on a bit of a positive story? It was gapped down because of this. So I'm just going to try to buy the first available dip on DJT. VWAP's at 19. I think it's an easy out if it breaks the volume weighted average price. So whenever there's a gap, I mean, it only rhymes if you say VWAP.
Yeah.
So
Not like,
I say
it's not like,
VWAP.
not like the greatest rhyme or anything like that.
Whatever, you just pull back to VWAP on DJT. How about that? I'm going to buy this first dip into the volume weighted average price. And the idea being, if it squeezes like these other squeeze names have gone, it's down on the day right now, down 3%. If I can get something in the low to mid 19s, why couldn't it press 20? Why not? I mean, the highs yesterday, 20.65 on DJT. And as Apple goes higher, I got to watch out for Intel because we're only in one short over there.
Yeah, we're hoping that Palantir can go as well there. So again, we've been long the queues here. It's too bad that, again, our stop outs just haven't been at the right spots, but we continue to buy. I don't know why we didn't, we got stopped out at that last wick there, just thinking that we were coming back in. We could have been a little bit more sort of, I guess, risk tolerant and tried to hold this a little bit longer. I mean, at least we got back in and were able to hold a little bit of this one. But here goes Palantir, man. This is going to be a good one for me as we continue to go higher. We just got a 25 fill there, I believe, on Palantir, 25 fills. So there it goes, man. 50 cents in the money here as we get reloaded and go back up northbound here on PLTR. So yeah, man, so far so good here as this name continues to go. So we'll continue to watch that. Futures continuously going as well right now. Wow, up to 58.60, back into day's high right now for the futures. So let's take something out here. Wow, that was a great move back in for the futures. Tesla as well, trying to go 266 for TSLA. That's the recent high. We'll see if we can get up to there. You're long Apple, short Intel. That's probably a good combo these days. So let's go. And I know that we're going to go ahead with something here.
Yes, sir. Everybody out there, there's big opportunities out in the market, but with big opportunities comes big risk. We all know that saying. However, what if it wasn't true anymore? Trade the Pool's redefining what risk means for traders. No more risking your life savings to prove yourself in the markets. They give you access to company capital, up to $200,000 to trade real stocks, no CFDs, and your downside is limited to a single one-time fee that starts at just $47. That means no blowing up your personal account. You get to trade with serious buying power, all while knowing your loss is capped. Trade the Pool now offers an unlimited time during the evaluation. You get the freedom to trade your way with no time pressure. Visit tradethepool.com and see how far your $47 can take you. Scan that QR code you see out in front of you. Link in the description. Shout out to them. We are headed right into Adara at the desk, I believe.
So here's the deal with DJT, which has already given back some of this pop to the upside. So apparently in a filing yesterday, Trump Media and Technology Group said that they basically could sell about 8.4 million shares imminently. That's related to apparently existing warrants issued during the IPO. They also said that company insiders and major shareholders could sell up to roughly 134 million shares, quote, from time to time. So they issued that sales could be on the way. That came through a filing. Now, oddly enough here, the company has released a filing related to their previous filing, and now they're basically saying that this is fake news, essentially, that legacy media like Bloomberg, which basically just reported on the reality of this filing, is saying things that are not necessarily accurate. They added here that apparently these shares were already registered last June via an S1 form. So not a lot of clarity from this statement, but it seems as though these share sales were already a little bit in the cards. Though again, it's pretty massive, 8.4 million shares related to existing warrants and another 134 million shares that could be sold from time to time. So not a lot of clarity in the statement or necessarily in this follow-up, but that's the deal with DJT. Back to you.
Well, I'm just looking to see if it can squeeze on that. Like if it can get back, as I said, if it can get back to prior close, that's 20 and a quarter, and the high yesterday was 20.70, but it's already pulling right back in here. So yeah, I don't want to add to this if it's not bouncing off VWAP or VWAP, I guess I'm going to say, because gap back into VWAP. Apple's still looking fine. Now I'm just going to be back and forth with that because it's a good saying, but you need to hold 19. Otherwise, this is going to be a fail on DJT. After all these squeezes, you'd like to hope that it could join the party. I didn't reload Intel that last time. Why? Because I was on DJT. And so an important thing to remember in all trading or just in life in general, everything is a trade-off. There's an opportunity cost for everything. You pop over to another stock because it's in play on news and you go punch in or you have a plan of action, and then the topping tail candle happens on Intel that's how we've been getting into the stock on the short each time, and I don't have it here as it's pulling back into VWAP. So remember, every action has an equal and opposite. That's not really the thing, but there is always a cost, right? So I popped over DJT. That's why no reload in Intel. It's unfortunate, but that was the decision I made in that moment, and it might be a bad one as DJT comes down. One other point here. Since making this low on Apple, I'm going to draw this better. I want to respect the trend line into 225. If it gets to 225, that's the target, but the dip buy I have right now is off the level we like. The way I see it, if we hold above 224, the next even dollar, then I want to start dip buying the trend line. So if it holds above 224, which it hasn't done so yet, I'm going to be buying above Fed trend line on Apple. Just want to respect what it's showing me, which is a very strong upward trend. And I'm just talking about since this dip. If you put one on the entire day, that's a bit different. Like that's what I would go short off of if it were the entire day trend line. For now, just looking to buy the dip as long as 24 holds. So Apple's working, Intel's working, but we just got into DJT, which is not. That's pulling right back into VWAP. 19 is VWAP, so I'm not putting the stop at 19, and we're underneath that 19 area, but not by much. I don't want it going all the way back into the low. This is DJT after all.
Yeah, DJT. Yeah. Again, yeah, very news sensitive, obviously, as we continue to look at all of that. We did not reload our Palantir, but it did go down into, okay, let me get another piece out there at 01. Did go down into the same area there. I was looking for a little bit lower. I think now we can try to respect some VWAP as we are starting to go higher and higher now. I just was waiting for a little bit lower. We did say that we liked Google at some of those levels down there, and it's trying to go upside. The only hesitancy there is that, like, wow, happy day to everybody right there as the NASDAQ goes green right there for a minute. We've already been green. We went green right there, as we said earlier, and then right there as well, just turned green and now trying to get back upside there. Same as the ES, man. They're both mimicking each other right now. As there we go, huge move. Crude to build as well. There goes, we just got a fill there, and we just got Palantir breaking back down. We did get that fill there at 86. All right, let's go over to the desk with Adara.
This is the crypto segment here. We're going to take a look at Bitcoin. This is still making some higher lows here from this drop that we had in early March, but even well below from these most recent highs, around $90,000. We've seen a little bit of a base here. We actually breached that $81,000 base this morning, but recovering nicely currently here above yesterday's high, trading just below that $86,000 level. Let's see if this can be maintained. In terms of other crypto names, Bitcoin doing very well here. Ethereum up marginally here, just under 1%. Same with Solana. Dogecoin up about 1.5%, as is Cardano. So Bitcoin seems to be outperforming the other crypto names of its ilk this morning, guys. Back to you.
Very much, Dara. That WTF is actually making its first bounce, but just very quickly, just to go over this on Apple, because I left 1 point, trailing this trend line. It hasn't closed and held at 224 just yet, so I have a trail on there, but WTF, first up move on WTF, it doesn't matter. First up move, and then it just goes immediately into a halt down. I don't know how tradable this is going to end up being if you can't actually hold open for more than, like, these are 3-minute candles. You're basically doing it right away. Whoops, that's not what I wanted to go to. We wanted to go to DJT. DJT is holding on to VWAP, barely. I think it needs to put in at least a little bit of a consolidation, revert the trend. I'm not offering it. I want to see what happens next. I think if it squeezes, I don't want to just sit there and get taken out in front of like a $20 level when the obvious level would be the prior close here. So I'm giving it a lot of room because I think it has a lot of potential. But if we lose VWAP, I'm just going to jump out of it. When you're looking for a squeeze play, sometimes you aim high on a name like that. The other thing to watch is, remember, people were talking about Rocket Labs. That's pulling back into the volume-weighted average price as we speak, so upward trending stock. I mean, obviously, I liked Apple on the Mag 7 names, but this was one that was rocketing to the upside, for lack of a better term, and apologies for the pun. But this holds VWAP, and I think this can be a nice little long. I didn't have any long ideas today. Like, we kind of winged Apple here because we found it. And I think DJT was a reaction to news, but Rocket Lab's already going on news. If it closes above VWAP, I think this is one I want to give a shot at. But that's more of a bounce VWAP, play it to the high of the day, which is 14.3 on RKT, and it looks like it is going to hold here. Close above, and we're good.
Yeah, we're noticing some of these tops potentially as well, especially in the market again. This is again where we'd already been at earlier today. So far so good, but can we hold it? I mean, that's really going to be the question. Tesla's nowhere near the top, despite where the market is right now. So not to say it's nowhere near, but you're still $4 or $5 away from that top. All right, what else, man? Okay, so. People, what were you looking at? Because RKLB, Rocket Mortgage there, I guess, is RKT. I don't know if people were talking about that one, but yeah, that's a nice upside move there as well.
Rocket Companies is the one I'm looking at. RKT.
Yeah, RKT. Okay, yeah. I don't know if people were saying Rocket Lab because that was I only joining the chat now. Yeah, Rocket Lab still.
They're both they're both strong, but it's RKT that has the story.
Right. Okay. RKT. Yeah. Okay, so we'll look at that. Or you just did. SoFi with a nice move up to 12 and change. I saw someone just looking at it, just looking to see some different names now. SoFi up 2% on the day. Nice move there for this name. Looking to break out one more time through the daily high of 1220. I mean, that looks pretty good too. Just kind of like what we've been looking at with Palantir, taking out some of those weak levels, it looks like right now. Although we do have a nice move upside in SoFi, the trend is definitely down. And, if anything, I would think about a fade. Like, I'm trying to think about some longs right now as the market flirts with green. So SoFi, for me, not going to be the trade that I'm looking for long, but that could be one working. We messed with, we had a great trade yesterday in JP Morgan, 246. Okay, I was gonna say that seems like it's higher than it was yesterday, and that was in the afternoon. It was a little topsy-turvy for us yesterday afternoon. Yeah, okay, 244, 241s actually, where we had this move down, and we started to buy it, and then we were getting. I think we got stopped out when we broke 242 there, but then we had gotten back in and then rode this back to the upside there into the close for JP Morgan. We did have more shares on CoreWeave long 50s yesterday into the close, but JP Morgan was a nice long, and you could see there today extended as well. I mean, that actually opened up down here at 241. JP Morgan straight up $5 right now. So as some of these bank names look to get going, it looks like this one, the big one there, JP, nicely cooking to the upside. I want to look at Wells Fargo, 71 and change. Okay, that's a good level. Some of these names are pulling back. I am going to wait a little bit on Palantir. I'm not going to load up there. I'm going to wait to see what happens at 85. So that's going to be my next spot. We do have something sitting here at 85.50. I'm actually going to cancel and replace it with a little bit less shares there, just in case we do test VWAP one more time, because it did do that and we missed it. So we'll put on 1 unit and we'll put on like 4 or 5 units if we can come back into 85, and then we'll watch to see what happens. So yeah, right now we're bidding down here on PLTR, bidding 54s, just got missed on that level. So yeah, that's it. I don't know if there's any other. MLGO was a good stock to trade, with recently. And if you are down 14%. All right, if you don't believe our charts, the one thing you could do though is for sure scan that QR code right there, because eSignal will have the best charting available to you. Period. Track 24 hours a day, any exchange. The Mercantile, any random ones here in Canada as well. It's entitlement based. So if you want to find out what Nintendo's doing as they release the Switch 2, I think today, or something like that, you can go check out NTDOY over there on OTC markets. So it is, again, extremely customizable. Second charts, tick charts. We love eSignal around here, and I think that if you're going to be part of the game, you want to have the best equipment. And right there, it's like, why use a normal bat when you could use a torpedo bat, right?
Basically, that's exactly.
Yeah, so that's it right there. But definitely have that look. Thank you, eSignal. Scan it. I don't even know if I said the best part. It's first month free. So.
And to further that analogy, highly customizable, right? So you want to make sure. Like, you play sports, you trade, whatever it might be. You want your head in the right space, but you want to be comfortable. You want to sit in a nice chair. You want to have a monitor that works for you, a layout that works for you, and then a system that works for you as well. So shout out to eSignal. I did trail out of Apple. Remember, I drew that little trend line that we had going on. It just broke it underneath 224, so we're out. But I think dip buy. So if we get back into either the volume weighted average price, you saw the bottoming tail candle. So it wasn't VWAP. It was bottoming tail candle, kind of close higher, take the break above prior bar close. That'll make sense. If that same thing happens, I'd go long the same way, or we just wait for the volume weighted average price there on Apple. Strong mover. Rocket, unfortunately, here, I'll show you what happened in Rocket. This is what happened in Rocket. Obviously, I could say a pun right now, but Yeah, the second I tried that same type of entry, bottoming tail candle, break the prior bar, on Apple, no problem. On Rocket, yeah, it just flies right into the high of the day after that. So that was the idea, but we didn't get it. Maybe we can get a dip buy and join this rocket ship. At least it'll let me show you there's room today for Rocket. Like, I know it's up 13%, but there's just nothing in terms of resistance until you get at least a 15.5 bucks. So as long as it holds trend in standard fashion, pull back, hold VWAP, break highs, pull back, hold prior highs, that kind of thing, room to 16 bucks over there on Rocket. I just didn't get that fill off of VWAP, but we showed you how we wanted to get in. We just didn't get the fill the way we did on Apple. So Apple's starting to pull back, looking to see if we can grab VWAP on the way back in here.
Yeah, we're doing the same thing. We just waiting for Palantir to come back in. We did get out. We're pretty much out of our TQQ trade. We're waiting for VWAP at best, which is 70, and then we're waiting for the 200 period. That's where we're going long. I'm not going to buy on the 50 period here because then I know I'll just get wicked out potentially right there. It's not worth for me to put any more back in. We already talked about this being the high, and if anything, man, we just like missed getting more out up there, and even missed a short back in. Like, if this day is going to be what it is, and that might be just calm down right now until we get exact news about tariffs. As you know, man, ear to the ground, we're going to be connected here to Adara with breaking news. We're connected to Benzinga Newswire. We have all this in our ear, and we're ready and willing to go. So there's a little bit of a reload. We did miss the big reload down there. Not the big one, but I had to buy 70s because we didn't get 54s because it went to 54, and we just never got filled on the bid. Like, how crazy that sounds, but that is what happens, and there it comes back up to the upside. So again, big winner today will be Palantir. And it's just because we finally were able to switch up our opinion, I guess, on this name and decided to, not on this name, but on the strategy of just trying to play safe. We're playing off of VWAP right now, and it's been working a couple of times. So for me, it's going to be a good trade there with Palantir. TQ's back up to the highs as well. AMAT, I see some ASML, people wondering about Tesla there with bad delivery number. Obviously, that's trying to fade out. I was just looking at 260 again, just bounced off 260. That's their VWAP level. So, all right, Adara, it's your time to shine. Adara with 1040
Sector
update.
watch.
This is Sector Watch here, and here are the sectors, and as might be expected given all of the weird and wild volatility in this market today, they're pretty mixed because we did have, of course, gap down. Both the futures and both major indices trying to find their way back to the upside. You basically see that reflected here. Finance doing pretty well, though. JPM, AXP to the upside. Retail trade here, Costco and Walmart holding down the fort. Health technology has some strength in J&J, which had quite a bad day yesterday on some updates with their talc lawsuit, and Lilly also to the upside. Consumer non-durables a bit weaker, health services a bit weaker. Consumer durables, you might expect the sector to be a little bit worse for wear, given some concerns here with tariffs, but we actually have GM to the upside, Tesla though sharply to the downside on much worse than expected deliveries. Energy minerals pretty weak here as well. In terms of technology services, Oracle looking pretty good. You may recall that ORCL is very much in talks with regards to a bid for TikTok, so that could be a positive catalyst there. Netflix and Palantir also up on the day, and so is CrowdStrike. Electronic technology a little bit more muted here. NVIDIA, Red, and Apple and Broadcom a little bit more mixed. Back to you.
Thank you, Adara. There was a question about ASML in the chat.
Yeah.
I remember seeing, I don't know if it was a super chat, but specifically about ASML. So full disclosure,
Go futures.
I have some ASML on my personal account. I have not bought it in quite some time. It was last year, and it was these lows that we liked. Well, the problem is you're right at those same lows again. So again, if you're in something for the long term, fine. You can buy levels you like. You can buy quarterly, whatever it might be. I can tell you personally, I'm not buying here again. On downward trending tech stocks, I'm not for the buying, especially chip names and chip-related names. I'm not trying to buy at the same level as before. I think if you're trying to build into it in the long term, sometimes let it play the downtrend out and be a little bit more patient in this market. So ASML, I know it's on those lows. And for anyone that doesn't know, they make the high lithography machines. You can't make advanced. Basically, think of it this way. The machine that makes the most advanced chips in the world, you have to buy from them. They have a near monopoly on it. So it's a good name. It's just been beaten up. Part of it's because of China and tariffs. Well, it's not really China. not really tariffs, import restrictions is the best way to put it. Right. That's what it is with regards to China. So they're under pressure because of that, and a lot of this trade war action has been an issue. So Apple, we got out, and it does not pull back into VWAP. Not much happening here except the trend up. If it gets to 225, I still think that's going to be the short. DJT is now holding off of VWAP. I said I'd add there, and if we lose the bottom, get out. And I'm looking pure squeeze or nothing else. Like I'm looking at the range from yesterday, and if it breaks that low, I'm out. I'm not waiting for the bottoms, but I want to see it break into those highs, cover into the top, and then hold some for the absolute dream. Rocket Labs just broke out the high of the day. Well, it broke the high of the day. I can't say it broke out the high of the day because it's still kind of there, but it just broke the high of the day. I still want the next available dip. We missed that dip into VWAP on Rocket. Want to see if we can't get the next one. Looking very strong here today. And Tesla, as you said, bounced off VWAP, still trending down into the volume weighted average price. I'd like to see a consolidation or a break of that trend. Otherwise, I'm going to stick with trying to buy the dip on Apple and Rocket Labs over Tesla.
All right, 56. I was looking at this 57 level. It doesn't matter. We're not anywhere near there. It's going to set up some of my stops for these names. But okay, so good move up there. We got some out of Palantir again. It looks like the market it's going to just do these dances. We said that, man. It's back to Greensville. So let's try to find something that's maybe a little bit strong or something to look at that maybe we haven't been looking at yet. We looked at some Mara, some Bitcoin right there, 85.5. Let's go have a quick look at IBIT, see what's going on right now with, okay, so not much there for crypto. Here's Bitcoin by itself right now. So we'll have a quick look, a 15-minute chart. We'll refresh this just to make sure we got it right. We'll call up maybe, let's do a 5-minute just to have a quick look to see what we're talking about for crypto. So yeah, I mean, IBIT tells a story, of course, because it is what this is. But 86 and change, you know, we had sort of talked about some of these levels. It looks like it does want to hold right there, 85.2 for Bitcoin seems to be a pretty decent level there for me anyways. If we do dip in, that would be a good spot. So if we're going to relate that to maybe what IBIT's been doing, then I guess it's that 48.50 level right into here. Again, held. We thought that IBIT, again, looks like we're going to be right about the relationship with IBIT to the market. I mean, as the market goes up, you can see what the NASDAQ did here early off on the morning, and then almost an identical trade there. As it's almost, I mean, there you go. Come on, just get back to the upside. It looks like the NASDAQ right now trying to break through highs. Crypto not necessarily near there, but I guess we still have a little bit to go. Look at it ride the 50-period moving average right there. That is IBIT, that is Bitcoin, and then there is the NQs. We did give a big shout out to our friend yesterday, Brian Shannon from Alpha Trends there on the after show, because he had brought to our attention that unfortunately anybody invested in Ethereum has been getting waxed so far this year, man. $31 down to $15 right there, down 44% it was year to date. So yeah, that continues to make new lows right now. Ethereum, I mean, it was new lows 2 days ago. Today, a little bit of relief that we bounced off of that level, but still down 2%. So ETHE, man, expensive and nowhere to go. So we'll have to wait to see what winds up happening with that name. Occidental, you know, everyone's always excited about this name because we have a buyer underneath it, but it's already had that nice move off of 45. Oil and oil stocks, as I know Adara just looked at Sector Watch there and gave us a good look at some of those names that have been popping there today. Just to have a quick look to see what's going on with the sectors, individual sectors themselves. Change so far today. Looks like the lagger will be energy. So, you know, as the NASDAQ battles back a little bit, makes sense. Energy was the hot one yesterday, as was gold. It's been, you know, getting to the downside a little bit. We'll look at gold there. It's been ripping, but I could see it being down as the market takes off. All right, here we go. We're doing well, man. The TQs and the NASDAQ back to the highs of the day. What else is down? Comm services, materials, information technology. So that's going to be the NASDAQ. So what's leading the way today? The financials. We just showed you JP Morgan straight up $6. Utilities, looking for that dividend again. Consumer staples. Tesla, consumer discretionary and staple name there, both upside right now today. But you can see relatively muted on the sector watch, as we'll wait to see if there is anything specific to these markets hitting around 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon. Should be some spicy times for the market. So yeah, there's the TQs right back up there to highs. We actually got another piece out the last time it did this. So for right now, we wait. I'm not hearing anything about Newsmax. It's not really coming on my CoreWeave is back to 56.
Newsmax has been, it's just been bad.
CoreWeave.
Newsmax is at the low, it's just basically chilling out at the low of the day. Unfortunately, and I wanted to go short WTF, but I didn't want to be. Look, it's still doing the same pattern on WTF. You could make the argument that this has been the easiest short of all time, and that is fair because it halted down, and you really haven't been put to the test. It also cannot stay, just flat out can't stay open. It's opening, dropping or popping, and then insta halting. So there hasn't been. I just don't have a trade for that, to be honest. Unless you get it really early on a flat bottom break and take the open underneath, like maybe that one works because then you just give it to like a prior stop. But this just can't stay open. I might have paid for the locates essentially for nothing. It's still not at the absolute bottom, so there's always a chance a better structured trade comes in because it's got room to go. It's at $7. The bottom yesterday was $4. It's not ridiculous that it could return to that low. I believe it if it did. Apple's still trending up, so we haven't had a chance to buy the dip on that one yet. And yes, I am aware that I keep messing up, and instead of saying rocket companies, it is just pure muscle memory. I would wager to say over the last few years, 99% of the time, if we're talking about one of them, it's Rocket Labs. So if you hear me say Rocket Labs, I do not mean them. I mean RKT, rocket companies. That's the one breaking out. That's the one I'm trying to buy the dip in. And I apologize in advance if I say it again, because it's just muscle memory, that's all.
Yeah, no worries. I don't think people understand what we're talking about. Put them in the chat if you guys want to talk about any names. Of course, there goes Palantir. I mean, we're just going to talk about the same names that we're in because Palantir upside, we're taking some out at the 50 period, hoping for more. Look at CoreWeave, man. What a I don't want to say a rug pull because it's been a great couple days for CoreWeave, and I don't think that's rugging anything. But yeah, up to 64, down to 55 right now, 56. So nice little push back down in from 64 down to 56 right now. Again, the 200 period has meant something on this name, so we'll see if it can mean something again right now. So $54 coming into play. That's 54, 54.30 for CoreWeave if you get down there and you're wondering for a level to maybe mix it up a bit. Yeah, all right. Let's go over to Adara. It's Money Talk. Let's go find out about the DXY.
Before we get to the US dollar, I found this story here in Rocket Company. So this actually seems to be a story from 3 days ago. On Monday, the company announced their $9.4 billion acquisition of Mr. Cooper. So this is now apparently now 1 in 6 of U.S. mortgages are now under the company's roof. So keep an eye here in RKT. 23% short float for that one. Again, day 3 play. In terms of the US dollar, nothing super, that is Bitcoin I will pull up. DXY, my bad. The only economic data we really had to digest today was the US factory orders coming through at 10 a.m., a little bit higher than expected, 0.6% versus 0.5% expected. We're currently, though, trying to take out this support low from Monday, March 31st of that 103.75. Currently trading around 103.77. The other piece of economic data we had this morning of note were these ADP employment numbers coming in well above estimates, 155,000 versus 120,000 expected. Previous was 77,000, so well above the previous and forecasted prints. And tonight, it's all about tariffs. At 4 p.m., we are expecting Donald Trump to deliver this reciprocal tariff announcement, as mentioned earlier this morning on this desk with Brendan and myself. He is often late, so this announcement might not come right at the time we are expecting it, but it's something to be aware of nonetheless. According to a schedule I've seen floating around on X as well, we're expecting Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary, to preview his statement at 11:30 a.m. as well. So watch out for these markets at 11:30 and all day as Liberation Day confusion comes to a head. Back to you.
And shout out to Profit X, everybody, because in sports playing, flexibility is absolutely everything. And at Profit X, you can see the order book just like a financial exchange. Pick your spot, customize the odds to fit your risk. Why settle for a single offered price when you can set your own? And by the way, if you check their book, it's going to beat a lot of the odds that you see out there. We've seen it in real time. Plus, the mobile interface makes it easy to play on the go. Profit X, it's a fantastic place where you call the shots anytime, anywhere. Use code TraderTV and get a sign-up offer of 2% cash back on up to $300. I know, obviously, when the Final Four comes around, we're going to be taking some shots at that. I don't like Duke. I'm going to try to be objective about it. Going to wait till a little closer on. These will get more liquid every single day. That's how it works, right? So it's kind of like, think of it like the pre-market. You get less liquidity in the pre-market. You get to the day of, and then these will start to juice up a little bit here. But I am a pretty decent. I like Auburn this year, so He's kind of watching the interest in Auburn right now. You got the yes or no, but you can bet on the individual games. Because it's the Final Four, however, like you can bet the yes or the no and then cash out of it after you get the first Final Four game and take your profit before you even get to the championship game. That's the advantage here. You have the no side of the bet and not just who's going to win. So shout out to ProfitX. Tesla, just a quick update. As you can all see here, a trend line, and I'm going to draw trend lines and then also explicitly state this. Shouldn't always look clean, like connecting, to me anyways, connecting like, ooh, let's connect the top of these wicks. You want the most points of contact. Like, where's the trend really holding? So it just broke above the trend above 262. So I'm buying the dip into 262 and want to give it to this prior bar low. That's the plan of action here on Tesla. We started out short, and all of a sudden, I think you have a chance to get back into this high, which is the prior day close. So buying in front of that 262, as we mentioned. Intel just doing the same thing. It has been. It just finally broke VWAP. Why sit at 81 if the bid is showing up at 82? Let's go to Adara again.
Keep an eye here on Boeing. BA undergoing a Senate hearing right now. Currently new, I guess now he's been there for about half a year, but Kelly Ortberg of Boeing currently being is questioned here by the Senate committee. He said he is not pressuring workers to go in fast in order to boost production. So keep an eye here on BA. The Senate hearing happening right now, currently underway. Back to you.
All right, let's go over some super chats just real quickly. Thank you to Jimmy Emond, Raider Emin. Thank you so much for the $14. Thank you for all the work from the Trader TV Live team. Cheers from Quebec City. So what's up to you over there? Thank you so much, Jimmy, as well. Patrick Jam, Tesla low of the day yesterday, going to hold. We'll see if what's going on with Tesla, because right now it does hold VWAP. It does hold that 252. Good little look there by Patrick talking about yesterday's low. And I'm sorry that we missed this, man. There's rocket companies. There's a rocket ship today. Ortex, you are 100% right, right there. Ortex with the short float, and then Darcy wanted to bring that to everybody's attention. So RKT one more time. Rocket companies, yeah, good little look there as Adara's been covering that day 3 play. So thank you so much to Darcy. Mr. C, guys, look at SPY. I've been trading the TQs. I hope that's been helping you. They've been identical today pretty much. So good storm. You want to hit the money storm. I mean, I know that was actually saw that earlier. So shout out to you. More on Wall Street. Thank you so much. And then T-Money also there wants to watch out for the market there. Trap retail and then a possible dump there. So we'll wait to see what winds up happening. Thank you, T-Money, for that. So there it goes, man. That's what's all about. We want to say thank you to everybody. Will today be? I've already voted Green Day, and I voted that in the pre-market. So let's wait to see what winds up happening. Despite looking short early right now, we'll wait to see what winds up happening with this market. But, you know, one thing that everybody does look forward to, too, is like what's for lunch. So let's just quickly go over what's for lunch there. I just heard Joe was pretty excited about this, and it's going to be a good one today. Many people that have missed this in the past, I think this might be the first time that this chef has provided this. It's chicken fajitas today. So
I thought tacos.
Yeah, close enough, right? Chicken fajitas there with Mexican rice. The toppings include diced tomatoes, sour cream, green onions, shredded cheese, with again the chef's choice salad. So looks like we'll be in good hands today.
Well, crazy. I had tacos yesterday.
Oh, so kind of something
right,
similar
we made tacos
there for you.
But it's
that one.
The running joke is we had tacos once from our caterer, and it was a day that I wasn't here. So they finally made tacos.
Yeah. But now you get something close.
We get some fajitas in there.
Corey's
a lot of fun.
Yep.
I actually voted for Greensville. I'm just surprised. Pure chaos with more votes than Flat Day. Because the announcement's at the end of the day. So you would think that there'd be more votes for Flat Day, just given the fact the NASDAQ's exactly flat.
Come on, NASDAQ.
But a lot of times you'll get that, like if the market's flat, people will vote flat. Still looking at rocket companies, which is not doing much of a pullback. So probably more imminently, possibly getting Tesla after it broke that trend. I'm looking to go long off that trend break, downtrend break, and see if we can't grab it off 262. Keep remembering that after I draw a trend line, I have to hit save, and then it decides to. There you go. There. So I want to go long, give it to the prior bar underneath, but looking for that dip trade on Tesla. And Rocket and Apple are the other two that we're looking for that long. Apple's starting to crest again, but it's really holding on to the upward trend. It tried to break it, didn't get very far, maybe about 20 or 30 pennies before it went anywhere. And the DJT one, I don't know if it wants to squeeze everybody. Like this is Like it might turn into a scalp trade if it stops doing anything. You pop to the upside, bought dip in front of the prior low, bought dip VWAP, stop underneath, not offering till it gets into the range of the top. But if volume doesn't come into this over lunchtime, I'm not punching out because my stop is actually right underneath here, so there's no point. But DJT, a bit of a nothing burger. And not much happening on those crazy IPOs unless you were short this morning. Like you basically, either you had to sit short in those IPOs or just short them on the way down. Newsmax still at the low of the day, and same thing with WTF, which there's a pun I could say, but you guys can figure it out. Like that keeps halting to the downside, and there has been no end in sight to all those halts, unfortunately. Yeah, nasty. But you knew this day was coming. Happened to HKD. It happens to all of them eventually. You have fun while they last, right?
Yeah, exactly. We're having fun every day here. That is for sure. And there goes the market right there, up to 59 again. Props it up. Anybody that's long this one, we're 110 handles now in the money, 57.80 long. Palantir also is starting to work. This is going to be a good trade for us here as we get into the midday show with both Joe and Obi. Joby will be there this midday. So there's a nice move there on Palantir. Obviously getting that high. We're still in this. I do have my next offer at 53s, waiting to see if that can get us something there. So yeah, so far so good here on the day. So yeah, there it is, day trader cut. Congratulations on that one there. If you are in, like I said, though, you got to be in it to win it. And yeah, it's been a little bit of a rough day, right? We talked about some of those fades today, especially with the TQs not being able to hold when we needed to. Like we should still be hella long right there, and we're not. So, but it's a nice move back there to the upside, up into the highs of the day. So it's a good thing that we stay long and strong, right? I mean, we're going to leave you now about $2 in the money with 70 cents on Palantir and about $1.10 right now on the futures. And then assuming Tesla, again, great bounce off VWAP, so look out for that. I don't have too many more pending orders or anything here. Looking to buy dips if the Qs do come down. We've sort of talked about that. Levels that we would like down here, 57 flats. Would be our stop. So anything close to that, 57.50, 57.20 would be a good trade, but I don't know if that's going to come through. Nice little dip down right there. Look at Palantir. Whoops. All the way down as the futures collapse a little bit. So that's why take outs where outs lie, because you know, we don't know where that's going to be. TQQs as well. Days high, then whoops, all the way back in. So those are the levels that I'm looking at. For me, I'm not sure about for you, but for me, it's not going to be a green day because we did have some sloppy outs there on the TQs, but we'll hold this and hope for a good afternoon. So 11 o'clock.
Yeah, I mean, as many positive symbols as red symbols, but it's slightly, we'll see, because DJT kind of tips it though, because we're looking big and I'm not scalping out DJT. This will be for the other, you guys are going to flip over to the midday show, but anybody that has a quick explanation as to why you're breaking highs on Rigetti while QBTS is looking like a dog, I'm very curious as to what's going on here. Rigetti is absolutely breaking out, and D-Wave is looking weak. So usually these follow each other. Anyways, I'm going to do some digging myself as to figure out what's going on here. Maybe there's some kind of a trade. My first thought was maybe we catch up in D-Wave and I can buy some bids or buy some dips, but I'm not really sure if there's a story specific to Rigetti. I have not seen it yet, but we are heading you over to not Sharif.
No.
It is Obi and Joseph, which we call Joby, and learn to trade. Go get them, guys.
Bye-bye, Joby.
Boom. What's going on? Trader TV Live traders. Hope everybody's